Hello, everybody. Welcome to Phonogenics 101. We are back to talk about Prince tonight. We did take a month off from Prince just because life is busy for everybody, but we're back, baby. We're back with a big album. Thanks to my Patreon subscribers, patreon.com/Jeremy Gloff. If you just want to leave a one-time tip, my Venmo is Jeremy Gloff, and the code to my phone number is 5399. And subscribe to my YouTube channel. It pleases me very much that every time I go to my Phonogenics 101 page, we have more subscribers. So someone's just sitting here listening to all of us assholes talk about music, and thank you so much. So we had a 4-hour Stevie Nicks discussion and a 4-hour Joni Mitchell discussion. So I propose that we do not talk about Purple Rain for 4 hours because I get kind of bitchy towards the end. All right. So it was 1984. I was on vacation with the Gloff family down in Fort Myers, Florida, and the Purple Rain premiere party was on MTV. I remember watching it in our hotel room. I can't remember the name of the hotel, but it's down in Fort Myers. And we always say that we're going to go back, but I guess I'd have to remember the name of it. And that's my first memory of Purple Rain. When Doves Cry, of course, was the first single, but this was the album that made Prince from a superstar to a megastar, I'd say to a legend. And this put him in the league of the big players. So let's go around the circle and everyone introduce themselves and kind of say their relationship to the Purple Rain album. We'll start with Jeffrey up in the upper left corner.
Hello, Jeffrey from Los Angeles. Let's see. I mean, Controversy was the first Prince album I was aware of. And then 1999 was the first album I bought on release day. And I did ever since from then on until the new one. But anyway, yeah, so just love, I love Purple Rain. I didn't realize, I didn't have MTV, so I had no clue that Prince was going to become like such a huge star. It was just one of those things where you heard it, you liked every song on it. And, the movie came out and, everyone was talking about Prince. And then I feel like shortly thereafter, everyone was dogging Prince and I was always the one like defending him to everybody. And I felt like I kind of never stopped doing that. But yeah, that's my relationship with Purple Rain. Love it.
All right. Next we have Aisha.
Mine started, I was 9 going on 10, and I was sitting in our living room reading Ellen Tebbett's by Beverly Cleary. MTV was watching me, not me watching it. And I heard that guitar opening to When Doves Cry. And I looked up at the TV and those doors opened and I was just like mesmerized. And then there was a naked man in the bathtub. And here I am 9 years old and I am looking out to see if my mother's going to come. I'm like, I shouldn't be watching this. I'm going to get in trouble. But I just couldn't take my eyes off the TV. So it was like everything after that was Prince. So my father worked at a radio station and he brought me the 12-inch station copy of When Doves Cry. And I played it. And then one day I flipped it over and decided to play the B-side, 17 Days. And for my 10th birthday, I begged and begged and begged and bitched to my mother that I wanted to see Purple Rain. So we saw Purple Rain on my 10th birthday. And I had to close my eyes when Apollonia took her clothes off, which I didn't understand because, we were all girls. But that was my relationship with Prince and Purple Rain.
I love it. And for the record, the hotel in Fort Myers was called Suntan Village. It just came back to me.
Of course it is.
So there we go. All right, Clark Brooks.
Purple Rain was the first chance I got to go on a date with a girl that I'd had a crush on since high school. So it'll always hold a special place.
Did it help you score?
Huh?
Did it help you score?
That's another podcast.
That's another podcast. Tampa News Force.
This is about the music.
This is about the music.
Yeah.
All right, and last but not least, my sidekick since 1992, Ann Fearman.
So I think that probably Prince happened. I discovered Prince at the same time that I discovered what it felt like to be a girl, if you know what I mean. And so, you know, seeing him like coming out of that bathtub for me was a new experience. See, I like Duran Duran too, but they weren't coming out of bathtubs for me. You know, they were doing some weird shit on the Rio Grande, right? Whereas Prince, his music was we've talked about, right? How I'm gonna have to touch myself a little bit now. I'm sorry. How sexual it was, how erotic, how he was such a sexy chest. You know, he was so fucking sexy that I realized that I want to be sexy like that too. At 10, I was 10. And so, you know, thanks, Prince, I guess, you know. But that was my first experience with him. And then we went and saw the movie. We probably went and saw the movie. I saw it with my friends. And I'm sure that we saw it in Dunkirk at what was then, I can't remember what it was.
The Cine or the Regent?
Yeah, no, it wasn't Regent though. It was like, you know, it was some locally owned one, right? It wasn't it was just whatever it was, but it's now like Cinema 5 or I don't know what it's called. A movie theater. We went to a movie theater to see it, a shitty movie theater to see it.
Ann, I got to ask, was it the one on 3rd Street or the one near the
you know what? I saw Splash at that one on 3rd Street, which is an important thing too, right? That was also an awakening in many other ways, right? But no, it was definitely the one out by, you know, on the Thruway or like out by the Thruway.
Oh, by the brand names was okay. I saw Truth or Dare in that same movie theater 5 times.
I'm really surprised they brought it there, actually. Really surprised at that.
First time there's like 10 people in the movie theater. By the last time it was like me and my 5 friends.
Yes.
All right. So how do you even start talking about Purple Rain? I mean, it's a soundtrack album, but it just never felt like a soundtrack album. It's a complete body of work absent from the movie, I feel like the movie, I guess, and the music are interchangeable, but I feel like the music does stand on its own without the movie itself. Would everyone here agree with that?
Yeah, it's not a true soundtrack. It doesn't have all the music from the movie, so
right.
You'd have to have 2 time songs, an Apollonia 6 song, and then Des Dickerson song.
Dickerson.
Yeah. So
and our buddy. Go ahead.
At the time, that may have, you know, muddied the legacy because a couple of those songs may not be as strong, but like over the years they should have definitely put out like the companion record with all those great songs on it. I feel like it's a crime that's not, like, you can't even find, like, the other day I was at a party and my Spotify was the DJ, and I just had this epiphany that it's pretty crazy that we live in a world where you can play the only version of Sex Shooter that is available officially is Prince's version.
Right.
So bizarre. Anyway.
You know, I think the music kind of moves the movie along, you know, because when you go back and you look at the movie, you're kind of like, it's not underwhelming, you know, but it's like, it's dated, but you see music, you see the music kind of pushing the story along. And it kind of, I think without it, the story would just be so,
What's more dated, the hairdo or the misogyny in the movie?
I was going to say,
definitely the misogyny.
You know, like, it's already cancel culture is, you know, getting there. But I mean, I feel like even in many more years, Purple Rain might not even be around because there's a lot of misogyny in it.
Well, people have already started on Twitter trying to cancel Prince over Bambi and Sister. So Darling Nikki's probably next, right?
I hope not. I mean, because Darling Nikki taught me everything. Like, that was my porn name, everything I needed to know about how to make a man want me.
You made a porno?
Darling Nikki. No, but if I had, that would have been my name, Darling Nikki.
I know I should have paused. Don't ask me to edit that out.
I won't. There's no shame in not making one, I guess, right? You know, I mean, Damn it.
Well-
Right. When I was beautiful. But no, like that was, and I agree, like that was weird to be up in my room listening to it. And it was on the B-side of I think When Doves Cry. It was on the B-side of When Doves Cry that I had, and it was purple. And I remember being like, When Doves Cry is good, but Darling Nikki is just so dirty and wonderful.
Did you know to put the headphones in?
Oh, no.
Which was my trick, right?
Yeah.
I had that kind of sense at that age. Put the headphones on.
Smart girl. Smart girl.
Now, when Purple Rain came out in 1984, I remember even feeling uncomfortable at the time, at 9 years old, about how women were treated a little bit. I must say, like even at the time, it kind of made me feel a certain type of way. So then when I watched it,
You know what? Prince is a little man, though. Here's the thing. Like, because he was like a little pocket man, a little cute little pocket man. And that's because I'm a tall woman and a large woman, right? And so I guess he never offended me because I always saw him as a mix between both highly sexual and kind of absurd. And so those two together kind of nullify, maybe it didn't nullify the sexism, but it sort of made it go, come on, he's a little guy. What do you expect? Well, but that does not dismiss that of course he was terrible. Yes.
So
but as far as the story goes, him being misogynistic sort of played into the narrative, and that he was inadvertently following in his father's footsteps.
Okay.
The cringy scene was Morris and Jerome throwing the woman in the dumpster.
Yeah.
Sure.
That's
yes.
super cringy. So at least the other stuff makes sense from a storytelling standpoint.
Yeah, but it's funny because there's this whole thing where the dad is really is supposed to be the villain, but you look at the kid and he really is the villain. When you sit and you think about it, he's just a horrible, horrible person until the end. It's like he's moody, he's misogynistic, he's not really a team
player.
Not a team player. He beats his girlfriend. Okay, he's like he is just like everything you do not want in a man. And how did I did not figure that out,
See, the problem is that is everything I've always wanted in a man. I just have terrible taste in men. Yes. So he also made Jill Jones cry in the movie.
Oh yeah, and he made Jill Jones cry. He played Jill Jones against Apollonia, which was just terrible.
Yeah, he wouldn't play the girl songs.
And he wouldn't play Wendy and Lisa's song.
Even though he did, but then, the thing is that he redeems himself because he gets back with Apollonia. They insinuate it. His dad is like on the road to recovery or whatever, and they insinuate that in the hospital scene. Or no, does he die? I forget.
But he ends up dying in Graffiti Bridge. That's what you read.
Oh, right.
Yeah, but in the original script, when you read it, he's supposed to basically rape Apollonia under the bridge where they have that last fight. And it's like, and then the mom in the original script, you kind of get the hint that there was some kind of sexual abuse going on with the mom. It's just if you read the original script, you're just kind of like, no wonder they got rid of a lot of this garbage.
Now I love the book. What's his last name? Dwayne, the Purple Rain Sessions.
Oh, Dwayne Tudall.
Yeah, that's such a wonderful book, and it really makes you feel like you're there with them, like in the winter filming Purple Rain. I need to read the new book. But I just had to give a shout out. That was such an enjoyable experience reading that.
Both books are like insanely great. I mean,
now didn't Jill Jones record a song called Wednesday for Purple Rain that didn't make it in the movie?
Yes.
Right.
Yes, she did.
Prince's version is on that piano and a microphone thing.
Okay. Which I listened to once and then never listened to again. All right. So let's start talking about the album. I feel like what can you say about these songs? Awesome song. Let's Go Crazy. Dearly Beloved. What'd you all?
I love the long version.
Oh yeah, the jam from the movie.
Yeah,
the 12-inch. Yeah,
the Dan Butts.
Wait, I got it down here. Here we go. Let's go. With the B-side, we do need to talk about the B-sides and outtakes after we go through the album.
Yeah.
What do you all think of Let's Go Crazy? I mean, what's there to say? It's fucking awesome. Nothing's gonna let.
What an amazing opener, right? What an amazing.
Yeah.
Right? Is it? Sorry.
Yeah.
want to
not
make
having MTV, they played the shit out of most every song on the radio, and so
Yes.
there's some songs, I mean, that stick out of my mind, like "Hungry Like the Wolf" by Duran Duran, which I love, but they played it to death, so I almost hate it now because I've heard it so many times.
Okay.
"Let's Go Crazy" was one of those songs, but I never have gotten sick of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
However, when Prince
Such a
played
good
it
jam.
at concert, almost always it was like, to me, it was like a waste of time because it is an truncated version, and it just like it just never could capture the magic of the original for me. But I do
And
like
it's a great opener for the movie too, because it's very cinematic. And you watch that opening number, you're hooked for the rest of the movie.
Yeah.
I feel like there is definitely magic in that song. I feel like he tried to recapture that kind of magic on "Can't Stop This Feeling I Got" in "Graffiti Bridge."
But the
Unsuccessful.
movie, when he does that windmill and the guitar solo in the opening scene, it's just like, yeah, this is the guy right here.
Yeah. An icon is born.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, the song is really, the lyrics are actually kind of, at first when you're like 9 years old listening to it, the lyrics are bizarre and don't make any sense to you until later on, and you're able to kind of process everything. I still think that last part where he says bills and pills and daffodils, it should be bills and pills and Dr. Bills, because he talks about the freaking ambulance going crazy.
But doesn't daffodils mean death, though? Isn't that you put daffodils on your grave? So I interpret that as death. So bills, pills, then death.
Oh, okay.
So that's how I read that one for daffodil.
Speaking of death, I always feel it's very eerie. It's probably not PC to say this, but of course we all know Prince did pass away in an elevator, and then talking about how nothing's going to let the elevator bring us down in this song. I always felt like it was kind of an eerie foreshadowing. A little bit.
Well, I mean, as we know, Prince was otherworldly. So I mean, if he even at the time, had any inkling that was what was going to happen to him, it would not surprise me at all.
No,
Prince. I mean, again, listen to these 9 tracks. They're like, it's like perfection, 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 perfection.
I feel like this is not going to be the most entertaining podcast because there's going to be no drama or conflict.
No,
see, the
it really
problem-
is perfect.
But the problem with the thing about the elevator and then him dying in an elevator, remember, he said in quite a few interviews that the elevator meant the devil. So did he foresee the devil taking him out?
Right.
There's lots of rumors that he sold his soul to the devil. Which
Chilling.
is another podcast.
Like Robert Johnson.
So the final question. Oh, go ahead, Clark.
Well, when you've got a 40+ year career of putting out albums almost every year, he's probably mentioned every word you can probably mention. So whatever the circumstances around his death, you could say, "Oh, that one song,"
Right.
So
I do agree with that, but I feel like this was such an iconic one. Like this was one of the big ones. My final question about "Let's Go Crazy": would you eat a purple banana?
A what?
Purple banana? Doesn't he say that in the chorus?
yeah.
Well, that
Sounds
means that's
delicious.
basically,
Being nuts.
if you do, you're insane. It's like, I used to be, my first career out of graduate school was as a mental health therapist. And I had a client that was seeing pink elephants everywhere he went.
Wow.
So
I hear
he's not in
purple
his right
banana,
mind.
I think of grape flavored banana. That sounds awesome.
Yeah, I'm not ever going to turn down something like that.
I think of Prince's purple banana.
Yeah, isn't it, yes, right. Isn't it a double entendre?
All right, so let's not go down that road. All right, any thoughts on "Let's Go Crazy"? Besides, as we all said, that the extended version is definitely worth seeking out.
Mhm.
Yeah.
It has an amazing ending.
Yeah.
That ending, that finale, and then the way everything flashes at the end of the video and the end of the scene in the opening scene in the movie, that was just perfection.
It really was. It is. Those are the moments I live for. All right. So track 2, a few years ago, is of course "Take Me With You," his duet with Apollonia. I had a friend that was a couple that are since divorced, but he commissioned me like $100 to do a cover of Take Me With You, and I forgot that it's still up on SoundCloud. I
No
didn't even know it still existed, and it's not good. So I mean, don't go seeking
Download
it
it
out.
right now.
awesome. Yep, that's awesome.
Don't go seeking it out looking for a.
Oh my gosh.
But
That
yeah,
sounds
that's
like a good track.
yeah. I did take the elements of that and use it for a different song like years later. But I love the thing I love about early. I guess. Do you consider this early Prince? Because I guess it's not early. It's early in the context of like his whole career.
Yeah.
It's only 6 years in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So early Prince, I love how he had like, I hate to say it, but Apollonia was not the best singer. She was kind of a shitty singer. And I think it added a certain kind of novelty and a charm and a unique sound to his music. Like he had Jill Jones that would always add the powerhouse harmonies. But then I did enjoy even Lisa's voice. I didn't feel like Lisa was the best singer, but she definitely added a texture. So I think Take Me With You wouldn't have the charm it has if it had a classically great singer. I think.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, I agree.
If you
But
listen
it's
to
a great song.
But if you listen to Apollonia's vocals, it's almost, I think he may have left his original vocal guide underneath her voice to give it some fullness, there, and a little tone.
And there probably is some Jill Jones mixed in there too.
Yeah, because I think otherwise it would be a little bit more flat, and you wouldn't get the full kind of thing. And if I'm not mistaken, they turned up those things that sound like the bells on a deer. You know what I'm talking about?
No.
That sound. It's not a tambourine. It's not
cowbell.
Cowbell?
Finger cymbals.
The finger cymbals.
Ah.
Ooh.
Yeah. It sounds like they turned that up, brought something up in the song, in the music, to kind of make it a more full sounding.
Well, also, is this the first Prince song with strings on it?
I guess it would be. I just think this is such a charming little piece of music.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's
I
very,
agree.
it's very
nice
inviting.
Yeah.
It's romantic. Like I want my Apollonia on the back of the motorcycle with me.
Me too.
Sweet.
Yeah.
What I like about just the whole album itself is the confidence. So, as Jeremy was sort of pondering, is this early Prince? I mean, it's early in his career, but this is 6 albums in and he is feeling confident. Like he knows he's a star and that this vehicle is gonna be huge. I mean, MTV, like the studios, they pushed this, they were all behind it. And I really think that regardless of the film, it's the album stands as a testament rather than the film. Cause I think the film was, I think it gets a lot more, maybe a lot more of a view, personal opinions about it as being misogynistic. Yeah, it's misogynistic. It's no more misogynistic than the other things that were coming out then too, right? It's always been the male gaze. Like this is the story of an anti-hero, right? That's the story, and it's not the story of Apollonia. Apollonia's this bitch, like it's a story of, this rise and, trying to slough away all the shit that you carry with you and making it out and all that, it's this Prince narrative. And so it doesn't have to be anything more than it was. And I think that I do think, I don't know, maybe because, he's a man of color, and that there are women of color in here, that there is a closer gaze. I mean, we talk about I was just watching it the other day. Fast Times at Ridgemont High, like that is so male gaze, but it doesn't get that we're all like nostalgic about it. I just think that I don't think that it would bother me it wouldn't bother me, but if Prince isn't going to get canceled, and I don't think it's going to be because of this, but at the same time, I do think that the focus should really be on what the movie was trying to do, not on, the elements where it failed. And it didn't really fail. It was a product of its time, and And obviously now that Sinead has said that he terrorized me and things like that, and there's all these sort of other narratives coming out, not that they shouldn't be coming out, about how he treated women, how he disrespected, artists, and some of his jealousy and, his little pettiness and things like that. I just, it's easy to jump on that, bandwagon, but shit, if Prince had come to me and been like, bitch, get on my ride. Absolutely. I would have been on it before you even opened your mouth, like I'm there. So I do feel like there's a part of me that sort of tamps down.
Have you purified yourself in the waters of Lake Minnetonka?
I would have, yes, but with
I would have been
Prince,
like,
I saw a picture actually of people with a bunch of it had to be a couple hundred people in a swimming pool, and someone said they're purifying themselves in the waters of COVID.
Oh no!
It was,
gross.
I think though, that Prince was a much better boyfriend on record than he was in real life.
Yeah. The boyfriend that Prince was within Take Me With You, sign me up for that. I want what he was in this song.
Yep.
Jeffrey, what do you think of this song?
Don't get his seat all wet.
Don't get the seat.
I like it. I mean, is it the best song? It's like, I was just thinking about it because, if you had to choose a best song and a worst song from every album, and obviously this album is it's pretty hard to choose a bad song, but it's I guess this would be my least favorite song, but I still love it. And it's
this is not my least favorite.
No, mine neither. It's one of my favorites.
I feel it's a palate cleanser after Let's Go Crazy.
And I like this. I just like the scene. It's a great scene. It's like he wrote the song, for that scene.
Just riding on the motorcycle, and weren't the leaves changing color, and it was the fall. That does make me nostalgic growing up in Western New York, because a lot of this album was recorded in the winter, right? It was very cold. So it's very much a winter.
I've only seen the movie once. I know. Again, I'm not a great fan. I'm sorry. And so I never think about the movie when I listen to the album. The album is its own thing to me. And that's, I think, why I love it. I think if I saw the movie all the time, I might still love it, but I don't know that it would be as meaningful for me as an album, and as sort of cemented where it is in my overall love of Prince but how I saw myself in the 80s and all of that. And I love this song. The song is beautiful. It's
so
super
beautiful.
80s.
So 80s.
80s at the synth.
Well, do we have any thoughts on Take Me With You before we move on to another heavy hitter? All right, the beautiful ones.
So I got into a Twitter thing with someone some months ago.
I like where this is going.
Because they were talking about beautiful ones. However, they were talking about Mariah Carey's cover. That was the only one that they knew.
I'm not familiar with that at all. I don't know who that is.
Mariah Carey did a cover of.
I'm kidding.
Okay, with Drew Hill. So they said that, they were just like, oh, I thought she wrote it because she writes all her music. And I'm cringing. I'm like, no, Prince wrote that song. Prince did it first. So I said, no, you need to go back and listen to the original to really get a feel for the romanticism of the song and just how powerful it is. Because Mariah Carey's version it drives me nuts. I'm sorry.
See, I didn't mind her version.
I don't mind it, but it drives me nuts because there's just too much going on near the end.
Oh yeah, she Mariah's it for sure.
Right. So she diva'd it up. So
she has to ruin everything.
Right. So we go through, he goes back and he listens to it. And he comes back to me and he's like, oh, that song sucks. I was like,
what?
I said, you know what?
Prince's version sucked?
You know what? You need to go see the movie. And mind you, I realized then that I was talking to someone who was 23 years old.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, figures.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You don't know real music.
I mean,
in the butt.
Some of it though really is about that nostalgia of it though too, that we are all of that age that when this came out it was huge in our lives and it was a turning point in all of our lives, like it we all can remember that and remember how important it was. And Clark, you sealed it with taking a girl there, like, oh my god, like so romantic. So
Well, just a little background. Mariah's version was on her Butterfly album, which was in 97. And her version's pretty faithful musically to the original. It almost sounds like she took Prince's track. I mean, obviously it's
audibly, it sounds like it was digitally recorded over. That's it.
Right.
Did he approve? He must have approved that.
Must have approved.
They were friends.
Well, you know what, though? Here's the thing. When he died, one of the things that Mariah Carey said was Prince didn't like anybody covering his songs. So she didn't sing the cover that she did. She just sang one of her songs. I think it was One Sweet Day.
Okay.
So
like I said,
not too sure.
I didn't mind her version because it could have been a real travesty, but she did overdo it at the end, as one would expect from Mariah.
Well, they were going to work together, but in an interview that I read with, I can't remember who, they said that, one of the things that annoyed him was that, Mariah Carey came to Paisley Park with an entire entourage.
She goes everywhere with an entourage, though, right?
And it was the whole, and he was telling them, this is what the excesses of fame and money do to people.
Mm.
So I think he was kind of a little turned off by that.
As they're in Paisley Park, his gigantic recording.
Right. Also his home at the time.
So the song "Beautiful Ones," was that written about Susanna?
No, he says it was written about Vanity.
Oh, about Vanity.
Because she left. He said that in either Ebony, it was Essence magazine.
Oh, do you feel like Vanity was the true love of his life in a way?
I don't think I think that they connected in a way because they had similar childhoods. Basically, if you know the truth, the story of Purple Rain is really is Vanity's story.
Okay.
She was the biracial one, and her father was really vicious. Yeah.
It's like when two broken people get together, they create their own.
They create their own kind of thing. And I think that he had many loves of his life. That's why he got around so much.
I feel like Vanity was his Lindsey Buckingham, though.
I think that, I think
I brought her down.
I think that it'd be I'm going to start coughing, so I probably should just stop until I'm no longer coughing.
I'll talk because I would say that I love Vanity and I really want to do a podcast on her Wild Animal album. Who's in? Am I the only one that likes her solo albums? They had such a weird...
But Under the Influence was like one of my favorite tracks. I mean,
Under the Influence is so... Yeah. Now, let's talk really quick.
The midday mix or something. Ugh.
Do you think Purple Rain would have been as successful if Vanity played the part? Because I feel like Apollonia brought an accessible sweetness, and Vanity was had a darker energy about her than Apollonia did. What do you all think of that?
I don't know the difference between the two. I don't know the difference.
Honestly, I don't think it would have made a difference if you had traded the two out, mostly because it was really about him and the music.
Okay.
And I think, the women were, I hate to say it this way, but they were disposable. So you could have traded one out for the other. Here's the thing. We always see Vanity glammed out, but there are some pictures of her after she left Prince where she's very kind of reserved.
Right.
And, not the wild hair and everything, where she does have this inner sweetness about her that comes out. And I think that could have been, they could have done that with her.
They could have found that in her.
They could have found that in her in the film. Prince just didn't want to pay her.
Right. Because I do like Apollonia, but I love Vanity. I even have her Blame It on Vanity book that goes for like $900 now.
Does it really?
Mm.
Well, from a straight dude perspective, at that time,
Which is
Vanity,
always needed.
thank you. Apollonia was much more seemingly approachable than Vanity was. Vanity was very intimidating at that stage as a woman, whereas Apollonia definitely gave off more of a nice girl vibe. Both
Like the girl next
really
door.
attractive, obviously, and interchangeable kind of looking wise. But Apollonia would be the one you could probably go up and talk to, I think, more naturally than Vanity would be.
Who is
So I
scarier?
Apollonia did look more natural, natural like that, I think. She reminds me, she reminds me of the woman who plays Lisa in Coming to America.
Oh, yeah.
You know, the hair, but also the sweetness of her face. Like, there's, I think that, like, I don't think in real life I would have felt like I could approach her, though. I think she's stunning. And I think she's really sharp in that movie. But I like in the trajectory of women in Prince's life, I only ever knew of like two, and apparently I assumed many of them were the same person. So I just don't know. Like, I don't know. I know that I only know about Vanity Six from Gloff, of course. But
I don't know that.
Apollonia, I think, was very much that girl next door, and was sweet enough to not take to not chew on the scenery, to not take center stage, to make sure that Prince remains in the spotlight.
I don't know that Vanity would have allowed him to walk off with her bracelet.
Exactly.
It was the character. He wrote it. He initially wrote the script for her. I mean, have any of you seen The Last Dragon?
Yes.
Okay, she actually does come off sweet in that movie.
She does. What about that song she has on there? What is it, like Seventh Heaven?
That's my song.
It's so bad. It's so bad. It's so good.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, God. Okay, so here's a little side story. For those that are familiar with my music, I have a song called Nasty AF. And in the background, you can hear my friend Oki go,
Sure.
ah, and we're making fun of the beginning of Pretty Mess by Vanity, because that's what she does at the beginning of the song. So I'm like, Oki, do the Vanity. So I recorded my phone and put it in the song. So if you hear that in the background vocals, that's our little Vanity tribute. Okay, so Beautiful Ones. You saw the tour?
Yeah, weren't we shouting, Jeremy is nasty?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I don't know what to say about the Beautiful Ones. It's just a powerful. His performance.
Passion.
Yeah, he does a lot of really intense pointing in the movie.
Yeah. And I mean, he wrote that song specifically for that scene. So
the lyrics are just so, the delivery. And there's an unreleased version where there's an extra verse that's right before the screaming part. And while it's good, I do kind of feel that he was smart to take it out, even though as a fan, you kind of want, knowing that it exists, you want it in there.
What is it?
It's just like a one extra verse. It's like pretty short, but it doesn't really add much to the story.
it doesn't make sense actually in the context of the song.
What is he saying?
That extra
y'all?
verse, I can't remember, but it's kind of like it just was a smart move to leave it alone.
Was there an extra verse in Purple Rain too that got taken out, or am I imagining?
Yeah.
That also was not that.
Yeah.
There's video of that out there, with the live recording of that. And
Okay. I guess we'll get to that.
unnecessary. Yeah.
So one thing about Prince is he was a good editor at the time, which I feel like later in his career, he's like, let me come out with the 3 CD set.
Okay, so the lyrics, it's leading into him. You make me so confused. The beautiful ones you always seem to lose, baby, baby, baby. And then he says, what's it going to be, baby? Do you want him or do you want me? Because I want you. Said I want you. Tell me, baby, do you want me? I got to know. Do you want me? And then this part is extra. Can I tell you a story? I said the beautiful ones, woo. Sometimes you lose. Let me tell you, baby. Sometimes, woo. Sometimes you win. That you do. Listen here. I said sometime, I get so confused. Yes, I do. But I say, right now, I know what I want. I want you. And then it goes into the part where he screams, baby, baby, baby.
Don't need it.
No.
I love that song, though.
That's just too
I love
much.
when he screams. Oh my God.
think he did that in one take?
Dreams.
I bet he did that in one take.
Knowing him, I mean, it would not surprise me at all. I mean, and he probably recorded like 10 other things on that day too, because Prince was just on fire. I mean, Dwayne's book shows how the amount of songs he was recording at that time, and the great songs, it was just song after song, churning them out. I mean,
who was with him? Susan Rogers?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then who was the other one? Peggy
McCreary.
What's the difference between those two?
They're two different people.
Yeah. Other than that.
Are they from different eras?
Beings that exist on Earth.
Like, I think they were around at the same time. I think it was like maybe one was like the night manager and one was the day manager.
But they did the same task though, right?
They did the same task, but I'm not really sure on the timeline of all that. But
it's in the book.
Yeah,
I know.
They kind of run into each other.
Okay.
The book is like it's like 2,000 pages cumulatively, so that's a lot of information to recall.
Talk about misogyny. What's the difference between those two?
I just didn't know if they were from different eras. Like one was like earlier albums. All right. Do you have any other thoughts on the beautiful ones other than we all love it? We all agree it's a masterpiece. All right. So the next thing you hear is Wendy and Lisa with a little lesbian moment. Is the water warm enough? Wendy and Lisa, what do you all think of Computer Blue?
Oh my God, let me go first. So you're probably aware of where I'm going to go with this based on what I usually talk about with Prince, but this was my introduction to lesbians, I guess, right? And I was hooked immediately because I wanted to be the blonde one. Who was the blonde one?
That's actually Jill Jones.
That was Jill.
I know. That's what I thought. But I wanted to be Jill. I thought her name was Lisa. But I wanted to be her, and I was okay with the brunette touching me. That's fine. You have to, tolerate things, right? And I just was like, whatever this is hot. And I want to do this when I'm Prince, So that was a really important song in my sexual identity.
Jill's character was so pissed watching that scene. I love it because he's doing extra stuff, okay, with Wendy, who we know is a lesbian, down on the ground on her knees while he's using his guitar in some kind of phallic moment, and Jill's just there like.
Now, Wendy and Lisa didn't actually come out till the 90s, right? Didn't they deny it initially because it was the 80s?
Yeah.
They came out like when their first album came out, like 87.
87? Oh, they did?
Yeah.
Okay. Girl Brothers?
Pretty well known. Yeah.
So Wendy and Lisa.
And it was known before that. So
everybody around them knew.
Right. I love those Wendy and Lisa albums.
I think back in those days, you didn't have to have a press conference to come out. I think it was just one of those things. People just knew and it was fine.
Right.
Now it's like, I got to schedule it at 7 p.m. and let people know.
Demi Lovato stuff.
True, though. Come on.
Oh, no.
Okay, back to Computer Blue.
No.
Wasn't there now, if you get the Purple Rain Deluxe version, there's a much, what do they call it? The hallway version of Computer Blue?
Hallway
What is that?
Oh, Computer Blue is an amazing
shared.
song. This is a 12-minute version where it doesn't it's not like it's just, it meanders off into something boring. It's like exciting throughout for 12 minutes.
Yeah, it is. It's great.
It's a crime that this was not released as a 12-inch version back in the day.
Right.
I don't know what he was thinking. Other than it doesn't really fit the theme of the movie. However, he does another. Oh, like I Wish You Heaven. It's like it meanders off into a completely different direction, but it's so good. Like it's stupid to not release that. He could have easily released that as like a B-side. I mean,
yeah.
I think that was a huge mistake, personally, or disservice maybe.
Because this is almost like a suite. It was almost like 3 songs within a song. Because it starts off with the lyrics, and it never goes back to that again, does it? Yeah. It just goes to the next thing, then to the next thing. It's such a chilly song too, because Take Me With You was so warm, and then Beautiful Ones was so tragic, and then this one's so cold. In my opinion.
Well, in the movies being mean to Apollonia.
Right.
So, and then with my theory of the albums coming out in pairs, this would be the Purple Rain version of Automatic.
Okay.
From 1999. So kind of cold and,
I love the way it flips though. Like there's that whole guitar riff and then the crash of the cymbals and then it just changes. And I love that change.
Yeah. It's such an interesting piece of music.
It really is. It really is.
Oh, he's such a damn genius. We're just gonna sit here and be like, this is good. This is good. This is good.
And the scream at the end. Oh my God.
Oh, and that scream got you going. Admit it.
Again, it showed me things about that I had places where I could feel joy in other ways than my heart, I guess. So yes, a tingly feeling, if you will.
All right. Well, speaking of tingling, do we have any thoughts on Computer Blue? I mean, I can't say much besides you just have to listen to it. It's awesome. His voice is sexy. Where is my love life? Is this? Oh,
yep.
I kind of want to end this podcast right now just so I can go listen to Computer Blue.
I know. I feel like that too.
And you have got to listen to the 12-minute version. You're gonna.
Oh my gosh! Yes, you're gonna post that, right?
Insane.
Okay.
It's insane.
Oh my gosh! I cannot wait to listen to that.
Well, speaking of sexy, it goes from sexual with Computer Blue, and who would have thought that he could even get sexier with the next song? Darling Nikki, pissed off Chipper Gore. It caused the PMRC to form. It was what was it? The dirty 10 or dirty
dozen.
The filthy 15.
Filthy 15. Darling Nikki was one of the filthy 15 in 1984.
It sure was. Oh.
And when this came out, I was like, what does masturbating mean? I don't understand.
I loved it. I was like, you can just do that. You can just be sexual. You can be a woman and just want to have sex. Just be cool with having sex. Like that's how I interpreted it.
Now, do y'all feel Prince has another song that's as dark and intense as this one? Like, I feel like this is the high watermark of this version of Prince. Like, I don't know if he touches this for me.
I don't know.
I mean, it is definitely one of his best songs. I mean, it's so unlike anything else. It's just.
Well, my mother was no Tipper Gore. She sat right there in the movie theater with us, and I know she had to hear the lyrics. It's like, was she not listening? Because she still got me the album.
Sure.
And let me tell you, I played Darling Nikki without the headphones.
Oh!
So I don't understand. My mother just found out like 3 years ago that Prince had dirty songs. So I don't know what she was doing my whole childhood. But the reason it's called Darling Nikki is because the original character for Vanity, when the script was going to have Vanity in it, she comes into town. Her name is Nikki.
Ooh.
And he changes her name to Vanity.
Wow. See, that's such a domineering thing, right? To rename somebody.
Right.
Yeah.
But that's what he was going to promise to, help her get her career off the ground.
Sure.
When his own was struggling, right?
I was like 8 when this movie and soundtrack were out, and it was like too young to kind of go to R-rated movies in the theater. So anyway, my mom bought me in 1999, and I remember like playing Let's Pretend We're Married, where he said the F word a bunch of times to like when people would come over to my house and like people would usually play Legos and G.I. Joes, and I'd be like, listen to this Prince song where he says motherfucker. Oh my God.
Right.
Like my parents kind of knew I was like, well, like when kids come over, I would do that. And so they thought like, okay, what is this Prince guy all about? And then Purple Rain comes out, and like the music, obviously the songs that they played mostly on the radio didn't have like anything kind of controversial. And so we rent Purple Rain when it's, when it comes on VHS, and first Apollonia, like my parents were like, finally we get to see what this Prince guy's all about, And so then it's like Apollonia gets naked in the waters of Lake Minnetonka. My parents are like, my brother and I are like, my brother's 11 and I'm 8, and we're both like, oh God.
Ooh.
And then, you know, Darling Nikki, and the Computer Blues on, and he's like shirtless and like oily, and you know, and then it's just like, oh God. And then Darling Nikki comes on, it's like, oh God. And then the beating.
Watching softcore porn with your parents.
Yeah, so you know, I think that has contributed to my own artistic career, that those experiences. Thank you, Prince.
Now it was 1987. Oh, go ahead, Clark. Go ahead first.
Well, as I was saying, in retrospect, it's not even there's not even any profanity in the song.
Nope.
There's an allusion to masturbation, and other than that, it's just like naughty hints. So
I mean, that's how we've come a little bit further as a society, because at least that song, I remember, like it was all over the news, like and this song is dirty, and like all those other ones that were on that list. But Darling Nikki was one they always seemed to call out. And then of course, what do they do when they call it out? They read the lyrics, which they say it, and it's like, so you can say it, but Prince can't.
Right.
And that always annoyed me about the whole censorship thing, and you know. And
meanwhile, where were you people on when Dirty Mind was out?
Thank you. That's my whole thing. It's like, Head did not make the list. Are we serious? There are three
like
Prince,
retrospectively, or like
but there are 3 songs written by Prince that are on that list, and Head did not make the list.
Wow. Was Sister on the list? No, right?
Sugar Walls was.
Oh, for God's sakes. Sheena Easton, she's so dirty.
She's so dirty.
Okay, so it was 1987. I had my first girlfriend that I made out with, Missy Huntington. We'll put that on.
Boy.
And we used to, it was the time when all the rage was to play records backwards to hear satanic messages.
Oh, boy.
So at the end of Darling Nikki, we used to take the Purple Rain record and play it backwards. And Prince says, "Hello, how are you? I'm fine because I know the Lord is coming." So that's what that backwards thing is at the end of Darling Nikki.
Oh, boy.
And then when you listen to 17 Days backwards, it sounds like it's saying Satan is the best. And I remember being like, I was so scared leaving Missy's house. I'm like, oh my God, there's satanic messages in Prince's albums. So that's what I was doing in 7th grade, is playing Prince records backwards on the turntable.
I liked it better backwards, and so that's what I sing to.
Yeah, the way it is on the album, you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I learned to just sing it backwards.
My radio station like decoded it and played it like on the radio. So like when everyone was saying like Prince was satanic, I was like, no, it's not. Here it is, like forward. He's like saying like a religious message, like
right. So eerie. What an eerie ending to the.
People took that as almost like, oh, now he's being sarcastic about it. You know,
right.
It's like what's he really saying? Here he is saying this forward, and he throws this in there backwards. Oh, he's just messing with us.
Yeah,
so,
it's cheeky. Right?
Yeah.
It's cheeky that he put it in there in a highly sexual song, you know. But I think that it can be interpreted both ways. But he definitely was Christian. You know, he definitely did believe, you know, in his salvation and things like that. And I think the thing that I liked about him was that you could be sexual, right? You could be sexual, you could be funky, you could be cool, you know, and that was not an affront to God, you know, was not, you could be all of these things. You should live up to all of these things, right?
He struggled with that though. He struggled with that his entire, yes. I actually wrote an article called Prince, the Profane and the Profound for Paper Magazine. And really going into it, he struggled internally with this, you know,
religion sucks.
Yeah, with the profane. Every time he did something so profane, he had to run to the other side. It's like he was doing 2 extremes.
Okay.
And couldn't find a middle ground, really.
Yeah.
And I think that's one of the reasons why he struggled so bad, I think, coming out of the 90s into the 2000s, when it was just like Jehovah's Witness stuff all over the place, because he couldn't find the balance.
Mm-hmm.
It was a consistent theme. You know, you go back to Controversy, where 1 second it's the Lord's Prayer, and the next minute it's I wish we all were nude.
Mm-hmm.
You know, seconds apart. So
I'll stick with the nude side.
Exactly.
Now, Darling Nikki, He had to have been turned on when he was laying down that vocal track. I mean, you can't fake that, right?
Mm.
Oh, it gives me my nipples are hard a little bit. Just thinking about.
All right.
Oh, now the straight guy comes back.
Well, here's the thing with that song, though. He really makes it known that he's a storyteller.
Sure.
I mean, he tells a story.
Mm-hmm. I love his stories.
Can't you picture that hotel? What did that hotel look like? Don't you feel like the walls are all velvet? And like,
Trash.
Sleazy, yeah, super sleazy.
Like it has not had a full light on it, you know, to in dark corners since it was created.
And
Yeah.
you pay by the hour. Yeah.
By the hour or by the 15-minute increment. Right?
Clark, where in Tampa is the Darling Nikki Hotel? If we're in Tampa.
Oh, Nebraska Avenue.
Nebraska Avenue. I feel like
Sure.
in
That
Dunkirk
sounds
it would have been the Hillcrest Motel.
Yes, absolutely.
And then what was the one in LA where the girl jumped into the water tank?
Oh, that was the Hyatt on Sunset, which is really funny because it was called Hyatt House, because all the rock stars stayed there and had such debauchery.
No, that's not the one I'm thinking of. The one I'm thinking of is hold on, I have to look.
Hyatt House on Sunset, the Riot House. But anyway, it got bought.
No,
out
I
by
think it's the Cecil.
The Cecil. That's what I'm thinking of, Jeffrey.
That's in New York, though, isn't it?
No, it's in.
That's in downtown LA.
Oh,
I feel like Darling Nikki would be at the Cecil Hotel.
oh yes, The Cecil is where Leonard Cohen got head from.
That's Chelsea Hotel.
Oh, sorry.
And
Is
my
it-
hometown only has a few hotels.
Which is literally the name of the song. Yeah, sorry.
Isn't Cecil Hotel where the girl had a psychotic episode and she climbed into the
Went into
water
the
tank?
Elisa Lamb.
Yeah. Did you
But there have been weird other things that have happened there too. I think there have been
Jeffrey Dahmer stayed there?
other like crazies. But that's because of where it's located and its
Right.
prices. I mean, you know, it is what it is.
And I of course
Live there too.
watched the documentary and found the former hotel manager is making jewelry now on Instagram. So I did track her down. Okay.
No way.
Back to Darling Nikki. We'll take a little break. What's that, Jeffrey?
Amazing.
I said, let's talk
Take
about
a
that
break.
scream. I mean, he goes from the great scream in the beautiful one, or let's see, what beautiful ones and Computer Blue, and then Darling Nikki is like, damn, this guy can fucking.
This
belt it.
guy can belt like his voice was perfect on this album.
Did he scream like that on 1999 at all?
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, but it's
Oh,
like, wasn't your throat hurt? I was
Yeah.
worried about his
No.
I was worried about his
No.
vocal cords.
I
Yeah.
don't think he ever and when he performed the Beautiful Ones and Darling Nikki, he never went like all the way there, but he went like most of the way, and like
Yeah.
it never sounded bad, and
Yeah.
it like I don't know, like again, he's like a otherworldly being to be able to do the shit he did. I mean,
Yes.
I
And
do
his
feel
voice
like
never changed. I mean, unlike
right.
Mariah Carey.
Oh, I do feel like his screaming on Something in the Water Does Not Compute was just a warm up though for where he took us with Darling Nikki.
Well, there's a great scream on Let's Pretend We're Married too. There's
Yeah.
a great
Oh.
scream there, and
And then
DMSR. There's screams throughout there.
Yeah. Baby.
Yeah,
So,
but
he's doing
nothing like this. I mean,
Nothing like this.
perfection on this album. Perfection. And he knew it. He wouldn't keep doing it if he didn't know it was perfect, you
Yeah.
know, that it like struck something.
Yeah.
And it was so unlike what everything was at all the music at the time. Like he was his own, you know, he was melding all of these different types of music and then putting it out there as this new thing with MTV. And, you know, it was so perfect for the times. He was so good at marketing himself. And oh my God, it was so beautiful.
This is the time where lightning struck. Like, literally everything he did was just perfect. I mean,
Yeah.
Yeah.
he had a like maybe 2 or 3 year span of it, and where just every single thing he did was just well, actually might have been longer, but in the like he Sign of the Times wasn't as commercially successful, and I mean hard to top Purple Rain, but sad that he got judged against his own work because
Yeah.
Right. Which happens to every artist, I feel like.
But 1987 was just a bad year in terms of how critics were with both him and Michael Jackson. Both
Yeah.
people had albums out. And I think the media, I hate my profession sometimes, the media comes back with backlash.
Mhm.
It's like you could only be so great as we're going to let you be, and then we're going to tear you down.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. What I remember about 87 was the only thing the media was in love with was U2.
Oh God, yeah.
So
Yeah.
I'm looking for some lyrics, but I can't find Joni Mitchell's song "For the Roses," where she's talking about one year in the spotlight, the next day they're bringing out the boards and the hammers and the nails, and that's so true.
Keep Joni in that other podcast.
Damn.
All right, let's take a little break.
all right.
Any thoughts on Darling Nikki before we take a break and then come back for side two?
Beautiful and amazing.
All right, and Prince, before we go to break, let me just say Prince was a huge Joni Mitchell fan. All right, we'll be back in a little bit. All right, friends, we are back for side two of Purple Rain. And I probably can save everybody an hour of your life and just say it's awesome, the end. Because, I mean, what else really needs to be said? But a couple of little housekeeping things. Feel free to subscribe to my Patreon, subscribe to the channel, blah, blah, blah. Aisha, you have a piece coming out tomorrow that I'd love for you to promote to the viewers.
Yes, I'm part of a group of just scholars, musicologists, Prince enthusiasts, fans, journalists who have come together to do a J thread series. So June, July, JJ, Jill Jones. And we're talking about Jill Jones' first album. And everybody's taken a song or something related to the album to talk about. And so we're in the last week. My thread goes up tomorrow on Twitter, and I'm talking about the song Baby Your Trip, but I also give a little backstory as to not just the song, but about Jill and how she ended up why she ended up delivering the song the way that she does, and how she developed her voice that way. And also some things about Prince that she wanted people to know. And then basically how she's come full circle from that song. So it's going to be on my Twitter thread, and you can find me at AISHA, STAGGERS at Twitter.
I cannot wait to read that tomorrow. And I know this is a little bit off topic, but I always felt with Baby I'm a Trip, that's maybe the one and only time that I really, really hear the Tina Marie influence in Jill's voice. Like, she definitely does some Lady T-isms in some of her runs and stuff. And it kind of gives me the chills. I've been listening to Congo Square a lot this week. That's been my album of the week. But all right, cool. We just lost. I was about to introduce Melissa. And here she is. Clark stepped out for a bit, and we have Melissa here, another one of our Prince Phonogenics fam. Melissa, we're talking about Purple Rain tonight. Do you have any early memories of the album or anything you want to share before we go into side two? Oh, you're on mute.
Sorry, I don't know where the button is.
That's what Wendy and Lisa said. No, I'm just...
Oh, that is not what they
I
said.
listened to this album probably 1,000 times. Since, when it came out, it was just like played over and over again on the turntable. And, every other CD, cassette, all that, radio. So this is an iconic album. And there's not really much. Of course, you guys know that I like every song on it.
That's what we love about you, though, Melissa.
I know. It's like, you guys miss me telling you I love every song.
Yes, I do. Because sometimes I can be a little snarky bitch, and you're like, no, that's a good song. I was saying earlier how after Gold Experience, I I never really delved into a lot of Prince's albums after that. So I want to do like a lightning round episode where we talk about each album just for maybe like 10 minutes. And I can't wait for you to say that you love every one of them.
10 minutes per album. Wow.
No, maybe longer. We'll see. All right. Well, When Doves Cry, the first single, the lead single from Purple Rain.
Come on.
Famously,
Come on.
famously, Prince left off the bass line. To this day, we've never heard the mix with the bass line, have we?
I have.
You have heard it?
It's horrible.
Ooh.
I mean, the bass line. It just
Sure.
is. It's not.
It was a good decision that he made.
It was a very good decision.
A ballsy decision.
And Jill encouraged that decision.
Ooh.
No surprise there.
Told him, you know, well, why don't you? He told her, you know, if I could do it, I would do it like this. And she's like, well, why don't you?
Right.
Didn't he do a couple live versions with the bass on it? Or am I imagining things?
I hope you're imagining things. The bass line. The
Where's
bass line
Jeffrey
is just
even now?
bad.
So what can be said about When Doves Cry? What an intense song.
He did it, yeah.
He
Sorry.
did it
He
live.
did.
Yeah, I was snacking on pretzels, sorry.
With the
What was
bass
it
line?
like
knew.
live? Was it just as
It's like that. It doesn't add anything to the song. I mean, it's just and I mean, who knows if that was the original bass track? It was just the guy playing along to the bass.
Hmm.
I mean, you can. I forget what tour it is, but it's out there. I think he did it in like a couple tours, but
There's the
whatever.
I always felt like the 12-inch mix, even though it's the album version of When Doves Cry, I always felt like it was sped up a tiny bit on the 45.
It is.
It is, right? Just a
It
tiny
is.
bit.
It is.
Was that to make it more
But-
radio friendly?
I don't think so. You got to remember, back then they were using actual turntables, and on turntables at that time there was a thing called a pitch,
Right.
and it depends on how their pitch was set. So if their pitch was set, you know, on the plus side, it's going to speed up a little and sound a little faster.
I
That's why
saw
at some radio stations you hear it, it sounded a little slower. It was the pitch that people were using.
Right. I always thought I was a little bit crazy because I'm like, I hear this difference, but I've never really seen it written about or talked about. So I guess I don't have as many purple bananas as I thought I had.
PJ's daughter.
I love it. All right. So obviously the song plays into the story of the movie, but I think the song is so great it exists without the 100% without the movie. Right?
He climbs out of the bathtub in this one.
But do you hear that
So
opening
damn
guitar line?
sexy.
Oh my God. The opening gets
Opening
All of
guitar
it.
line.
Yes,
Oh my gosh.
Yes.
One day I'm going to write
Yeah.
a thread about his opening guitar lines, because that one and Another Lover Hole in Your Head.
like a prayer
Oh
by Madonna.
My God.
He did. He did that
Yeah.
opening guitar.
Did he really?
Mhm.
Wow. God.
That
I feel like he
dun,
had
dun.
to have regretted that.
But their duet was trash. I'm sorry.
What's Josh?
His duet with Madonna is trash.
Love song.
Not the
Because
good.
Madonna is trash. Madonna is trash. She brings
Speaking
it all
of- Speaking of saving things for other podcasts, let's
down.
Ooh.
if I had to leave Joni out, we gotta leave Madonna.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
So
I'll leave that maniac out.
speaking of Joni, though, okay. So obviously, was there some autobiography here in this song?
Susan Moonsey.
Susan Moonsey, right? Susan
Oh.
from Vanity 6.
That's what it was about. But you know, when you sit there and you listen, and then you listen to him later talk about his parents, he said in one interview that his mother was like the wild side of him, you know, and then his father being very strict.
Mhm.
And so you kind of get that dynamic from the song. And the other thing about his mother being demanding, his mother did want his father to stop playing music and just be kind of domesticated, which was something that he struggled with, that he didn't like being domesticated.
Sure.
So did he play
Although,
that?
To be fair, it is hard on a spouse. It's hard on a family when you are, a touring musician. I mean,
Right.
it's hard. Or even just playing, trying to not in a popular band or whatever, and just trying to make a living and stuff. It's very hard.
Well, he also
to
had
have
a job at
family.
Honeywell, so I mean,
Right.
And we couldn't even handle being in a flop band together.
Much pressure.
Too much pressure.
Yes.
Sangria's clicking in. It wasn't a flop. We were popular.
It wasn't a flop.
We were popular.
Popular with a couple of people.
We got booked in Erie, Pennsylvania,
Mm.
and kicked off
College.
the stage in Erie, Pennsylvania.
Yes. Yes.
Okay, this is a side topic. Ann and I, we arrived in Erie, Pennsylvania, and there are all these flyers plastered around this college campus that said people with bad hair experiencing angst. That's how they advertise us in Erie, Pennsylvania.
They had never met us. They didn't know us at all. They had
People
never
with
met
bad hair experiencing angst. Okay, back to When Doves
us.
Cry.
And they
So
were not wrong.
questions.
Yes. Terrible.
I'm gonna find that and post it on my Insta. That's gotta come back.
Please do.
What do y'all? What can be? I can't even. I'm not worthy of talking about When Doves Cry. I feel like.
I mean, it's gotta be like in top every top 50 song list ever made anywhere in the fucking world, because it's such an incredible and beloved song, right? Like everybody loves this song. There's something for everybody in it.
Right.
Don't you know how Clark kind of put Automatic and Computer Blue together?
Yeah.
Is there anything that you could put together with When Doves Cry? Because I don't feel like there is.
yes.
Oh.
Ooh.
See, here's the thing, and I've done this before. So you don't get When Doves Cry unless you get Controversy in 1999. When Doves Cry is kind of the next step up from that.
Okay.
Because if you listen to Controversy, you can hear some elements that are in When Doves Cry. Same thing with 1999. You can hear some of the same instruments in those songs. And it's like, okay, he's got to do something bigger the next time to lead into something. And then he does it with When Doves Cry.
I actually agree with all that. I can hear it. I just feel like it's such a good song, so powerful. Did he play that keyboard solo live at the end?
I believe that might be the thing.
Oh, Dr. Finn.
That was kind of his thing.
Right. Jeffrey, do you know anything about that keyboard solo at the end?
No, I mean, I'm sure it's Dr. I don't know. I can't remember if Prince recorded any of that song, any of that album with the band.
Wendy and Lisa didn't take
Right.
credit for that too? No, I'm totally kidding.
I thought that he always
Hold on.
recorded it and then had the band play it. Like he recorded the music first back then.
Now, most of what you hear on Prince albums are Prince. I'm sorry, most of what you hear on Prince and the Revolution albums are Prince.
Right.
That's what I meant to say.
That's what I've always been under the impression of too. So I don't know. Maybe.
So he only had the band to do.
I'm actually going to look this up right now.
Okay, I like. So
I feel like Computer Blue might have been a band contribution, whereas a lot of these other things were probably Prince alone.
well, a lot of the tracks on the album were actually recorded live with the Revolution,
Yeah,
correct?
The last three were obviously.
The last three were.
And Let's Go Crazy too, right?
Let's Go Crazy. They claim that was recorded at that First Avenue show, but it's a different version. So
It is. I think that he went.
People say it's that same version, and I'm like, I don't think so. But
Prince would be good for, and Jill and I talked about this. He'd be good for recording something with a band or with someone, and then going back and re-recording it himself.
Mhm.
And so when people say, "Yeah, I'm on that, I'm on this," you don't really know what you're on because he always would go back and redo things. Yeah, that's why there are so many versions of different songs.
He's like, I can do that better, and he probably
like
could.
Computer Blue, for example, there's
Probably.
five versions that are out there, and like there's one that's like the 12-inch. I mean, it's like that entire hallway speech version with like completely music, which again, to even think that whole sequence out is like. And then there's a version that has like the verses, but not the end part. Excuse me.
You know what? This is a good time. Let's talk about this. What do you feel like the Revolution did add to the Prince sound? Because I feel like after Prince passed away, you know, the Revolution toured and played his songs and kind of were very out there talking about how they feel they contributed to his legacy. How do you all feel about the Revolution? No comment.
Well, I'll comment, of course, but I mean, so again, the disclaimer is that I don't really know that much about Prince, and like, you know, what he did and things, you know, because again, I just can't be bothered. But it seemed like his bands, much like his women, were, you know, products that he had created, and they were ones that he controlled. And then when they either weren't, you know, I always felt like they got too big, and then he's like, okay, shut it down, you know, like, you are not going to get bigger than me, you know, and I'm not going to be at the point where I have to have you. I just feel like there was always, you know, this really strict idea that he was a lone star, you know, and so he maintained that by changing out his, you know, the women, by changing out the bands he had, you know, things like that. But again, I don't know his entire, you know.
I think he just kind of got bored. He kind of gets bored with a certain sound and doing the same thing, and he wanted to make something different. Like, that's why he kept evolving and changing.
Could he have made this album without the Revolution?
Yes.
Yeah.
I think
okay. Because they all kind of became mega famous at the same time, you associate kind of one with the other.
Right.
You know, I think that they had a lot more influence in the next, you know, the company. Like, I think he recorded these songs like as a solo artist, and then decided with this movie that, you know, it was going to be a band project. And I mean, obviously he started a band. So, but I do think a lot of these songs probably originated with him solo anyway, because we already know that Baby I'm a Star was written in 1981. So that was written before any of these people. He only knew like Lisa at that point.
Lisa, yep.
Bobby C.
And Dr. Fink, right?
Lisa, Bobby C. Dr.
Yeah.
Right.
So, I mean, I don't know. But I do think they contributed to his legacy. I mean, for sure.
Sure, of course.
Because especially the visuals that they brought to the if they weren't so much on the studio recordings, they brought them to the visuals. And
because I feel like the look of the band brought the concept of Uptown to life. Like, you know, the genderless.
The glam, it's very city,
multi-ethnic,
and sexual and fluid, and, you know.
But I think if Prince had released Purple Rain as a solo artist, and he would have been just as big, probably.
Yeah.
I mean, because the songs are there. The movie might have not have been so exciting just to have Prince as like without a band, because then that created extra tension for the movie.
Sure.
But I think the Revolution really did a lot for his legacy. I mean, yeah.
I think they were instrumental in the visuals. You know, I don't think it mattered in terms of instrumentation, right? But I think he needs somebody to play off of as well. Like, he needs to front somebody. It isn't enough to be Prince. You needed to front. So I do think that he always kind of needed to have that something behind him as well as in front of him.
I think that they were probably an inspiration, like more of a muse. Like, he got ideas from the concept and from being around them. I think he did that with a lot of different people, where he would get the ideas, like with Jill or anybody else. He listened to them, or he saw things and thought of things from talking just in conversations, then he'd make a song. So I think that they definitely had a lot of input into it, but like you said, Anne, he definitely was the master, you know, like puppeteer.
Sure,
Like I'm going to
No,
control
right.
everything.
He's a genius. I mean, I can't
Yeah.
blame him, you know, but yeah.
In the later parts of his career, when he wasn't getting the inspiration from people like Wendy and Lisa, you can hear the lack of it in the music. I mean, a song like In All My Dreams would never have happened towards the later part of his life, where he was, I mean, that song is so risky and so unknown and so unlike anything else. The stuff he was doing at the later part of his career were like good R&B funk songs, not like these Prince creations like a Darling Nikki. I mean, he didn't make stuff like that towards the end, unfortunately. And I think that's because of the people he was around. I think if the people were inspiring him, maybe he would have made better stuff. That's my own personal conjecture. No one has to agree.
Well,
He didn't seem
Okay.
very inspired at the end. I agree. Like toward the last like 10, 15 years of his
well, the
life.
first thing I'm going to say is that his what people would say is descent into R&B music, I don't think was probably the worst of him. It was him returning back to his roots. Because remember, with Grand Central, Champagne, that's the kind of music that he performed. That's what got him his deal. But about the revolution, we have to remember that on the Warner Brothers contract, Prince's name was on the contract, not the band.
Mhm.
And I think sometimes that gets forgotten. So the band really was there to, they were a concert band. They were there to do the concert band. I think what sometimes annoys me is the saying that, oh, he wouldn't have done this if it wasn't for me, if I didn't inspire this.
Mhm.
And it's like, you can't call the man a genius and then say, someone else put
Mhm.
this in, pushed this on him, and then he ran with it. Because the latest thing I heard on the Prince channel on Sirius is that Lisa and Wendy wrote Mountains. And Wendy wrote it Lisa wrote it when she was 13. First time I heard that. Why didn't I hear this before 2016? And I think one of the things I get from people who knew him is that everyone is trying to make their role, not everyone, but most people are trying to
Right.
make their role in his life more important than it was.
Mhm.
It's like a pissing contest.
And I think, and you have to remember, the revolution was there for 3 albums. Okay?
Ooh, really? What are
Yes.
what are the
Just 3
three?
albums.
Yeah, no, I knew. I
Purple
thought it
Rain.
was on 2
No,
actually, but
Purple
okay.
Rain, Around the World in a Day, and
Yeah.
Parade. And
Oh,
Parade was largely him. So it's like basically their name was on the sleeve
Mhm.
for the most part. So when you think about what did they contribute, well, you got to remember, he did 1999 without their input.
Yep.
He did Controversy without their input. He did Dirty Mind without their input. How really critical to his success were they? They were a cog in the machine, but they weren't the machine.
It's just something that's always like kind of left a little bit of a bad taste in my mouth, is I feel like certain people within the sphere will be like, oh, Prince only had like 8 different colors to paint with, but we expanded it to 16, and they
Well,
would have been
Wendy-
there. And I think he always would have found those on his own.
Wendy had the nerve to say that she introduced Prince to jazz. What the fuck? His father was an actual jazz musician. So it's kind of like, and then she also says that she introduced him to Joni Mitchell. Well, Joni Mitchell says that she's got a fan letter from Prince that he wrote her when he was like 16.
Right.
So how did all these things happen?
Bitch is
Because-
lying. Yeah.
And she did get caught on Twitter for that by saying that she actually played the opening guitar for When Doves Cry. And someone caught her on that. And then she changed, then she switched it up. It was something to watch.
So
She's not
Clark,
gonna like me after this, aren't you?
we're talking about the revolution and their impact on Prince's legacy. How much did they really? How much?
You're
You know,
muted. You're muted, Clark.
It is.
How could I possibly be muted? You guys went through all the songs? The songs are all done?
nope.
No.
Oh,
We just did When Doves Cry. Then we started talking about the
My
revolution.
God. I've been off for a half hour. You've done one song?
Yeah. We got off track, Clark.
I guess.
Don't condemn us.
No, I'm just
Prince would
judging you
approve.
silently. That's all. No condemnation, though.
So, any thoughts on the revolution before we move on to the next song? What do you think of them within the Prince?
Oh, Brown Mark seems nice.
That's all Clark's got to say. All right.
I mean,
His
yeah.
book
I mean,
is
I've heard
awful.
all the Wendy and Lisa stories, and it's disappointing. But you know, the rest of the people in the band seem like they're okay people, right? They're all guilty of cashing in on some, which is kind of disappointing, also. But
Yeah, that's weird going on tour right
But they
after.
also
I didn't
didn't
know
get paid
that.
during the.
you know what they remind me of when I sit and think about it? You remember, oh God, Dr. Teeth and the mate. Oh God, what is it from Muppets?
Dr. Teeth and the Electric Mayhem.
Yes.
Mhm.
There should be a discussion group on that band.
I shouldn't say this on the podcast, but this is really morbid. But you know what? I'm not going to say it. It's too much.
Oh, come on. You can't do that.
I was joking with. All right, I was joking with a friend of ours who I think we all know who we're talking about, but I won't say her name. I'm like, God, I don't even think Prince was cold in the ground before the Revolution did their publicity photos for their tour.
Yeah, that did
know.
seem odd. It almost
I
seemed like there
know.
was like a phone tree. Like whoever got the word was supposed to call this person, who would call that person. It happened very quickly.
That's very
They were ready
disappointing.
It almost sounds like they were ready when his plane went down. When his plane had to man.
Oh, the emergency.
Yeah. Now, if any of the Revolution are watching this, we don't know shit, but this is just what it looks like a little bit from
No,
the
it
outside.
was a bad look though. It was so
It was a bad
quick.
look. It was a
very
bad look.
look.
Yeah.
But here's the thing: Prince's life was a mess. So how was his death not going to be a mess? So
Yeah.
we
Yeah.
should leave it at that and move on.
Okay. So
Well, and you also had to figure so many people were quiet for so long. They were probably a lot of those people were waiting for something to happen.
Oh,
They could get their
yes.
share. So
It's
yeah.
my personal opinion that some very bad stories will come out about Prince in a period of time when people's money has run out, because there's a lot of
Yeah.
bad stories that did not come out during
Right.
this
Yeah.
round. And I have a feeling, even though now they've all publicly said like, oh, he was great, I have a feeling in X amount of years that shit's gonna make the rounds because there's a lot of material out there.
I don't think
Yeah.
it's well
If
for
you
some
release this-
people.
if
Some
you
people
released the
might
shitty book a couple years ago, it probably wouldn't have flown because everybody was in
Mm.
kind of the wave of,
Yeah.
let's say nice things. So
I mean, Brown Mark's book was
I heard it was terrible. A lot of typos and stuff.
horrible. But you know, well,
That
I-
is terrible then. Yeah.
it was. He kind of implied that Prince was jealous of him,
Oh.
and I'm like,
Oh, wow. Wow.
So
Person?
looking like Fozzie the Bear. Brown Mark. Look, my daughter has this thing about Purple Rain. She said Brown Mark deserves an Emmy for his role in Purple Rain. Can you guess why?
No.
He's the only one that doesn't have any lines.
oh,
Who is he?
here's the
him and
bass player.
Susan,
Oh, the bass player. Yeah, I don't remember him at all. I loved the keyboard guy.
Dr.
the
Fink.
guy. Yeah, yes. He looked like Weird Al under there.
And we love Weird Al, don't we?
Yeah,
Well,
of
in the-
course.
If you're out there watching, I don't want to say bad things about them. I like.
I love Weird Al.
I do think some of the associated artists have changed their tunes about things since he's died, and a lot of people are playing up their stories. I won't say names, but it rhymes with Sheila Me.
Oh,
Yeah.
Well, do you remember the first?
I love her too, and
legendary-
it's like I wish they'd all like back the fuck off because I don't want to not like any of them.
I know. I love Wendy and Lisa's albums.
It's the soundtrack of my life, and
Yeah.
you know, like Sheila's like first 4 albums are great.
So
it's
good. 3. Let's say with 3. I don't know about that sex symbol.
I actually like it. I mean, not every song is great, but like there's a lot of pretty strong songs.
Okay.
We should do a Sheila E. discussion.
I'll do Sheila E.
I'll do them.
I love those first 3 albums.
Do you remember the first lengthy Rolling Stone interview, which I think was 86, where he praised the Revolution? I remember him saying that if Brown Mark didn't play bass for him, he'd eliminate bass from his music. And I remember thinking, that's a pretty strong commitment to a guy that's just in the band. But
Was that the one with Wendy and Lisa on the cover?
no, the one where he's like the still from Raspberry Beret.
Oh, there it is. Aisha's got it. Awesome.
I'm next to this. My entire living room is a Prince museum, so I just pick things up, Just,
All right, so the second track on side 2 of Purple Rain.
I would die for you.
I would die for you.
Oh my God.
I would die for you.
Yes.
We all love this song, right?
Of course.
Love it.
Yep.
This is the one I skipped.
Really?
What?
Clark, don't you have a movie to change?
I just don't think there's a lot going on in it. It's fine, but it's not. Nothing really happens in it. So if I'm gonna skip a song, it's gonna be this one.
To me, it's very spiritual. It's got a spiritual undertone to
I'm
it.
sorry.
Oh,
No, don't apologize for your bad choices.
don't apologize for your wrong opinion, but
Yeah. It's fine. I'm
I
glad
didn't
you
say it
felt
sucked.
safe. I'm glad you felt safe enough to share that with this group.
I didn't say it sucked.
No, you just said you skip it, which is
If I'm in a hurry, and I have to skip one, this is the one. That's
It's
all.
only
Why
9
would you have to
songs.
skip any? Why would you have to skip any?
There is a
Sometimes
song that I
I'm busy.
skip. There is a song that I skip.
But it's not this one, Aisha.
I know what it is.
No, it's not this one.
I know what it is from a
Thank
past
you.
podcast.
Ooh, I'm excited.
I know what it
Not
is.
this one.
It's on this album, Aisha?
Yeah,
Ooh,
it's gonna be
so we haven't
controversial.
It
We
is
haven't
my.
gotten to
It
it
is.
yet?
It is my least favorite Prince song.
Okay, of all time. Or
Uh-oh.
just on.
Uh-oh.
Oh my gosh! Little teaser for the group, people watching.
So I think I would die for you. It's like a great pop song. It's spiritual.
It
I'm
is a
not-
great pop song.
It is
got a hook.
spiritual.
Dance song. It's beautiful. It's sweet and it's sexy. It's all of those things that I want Prince to be.
I feel like I'm always shading Wendy and Lisa on this podcast, and I just love their solo albums so much. Like I love them.
He really was into. You could really sense that he was into his groove when he got to this song. He's like, I know this album is hot as hell. Let me do this song.
Yes. Yes.
The part in the movie where like he's going up to Wendy and singing, it's so sweet. So a little love for Wendy from the Purple Rain movie.
To me, well, back in the day, this song was the jam. When it came on, it was just like everybody loved this song back then. But to me, all I can think about is my first time getting on stage with him, dancing up there. He went over to the keyboard and he started playing this on the keyboard. And we were just like maybe 3 feet, maybe not even 3 feet apart. And me and my girlfriend were just doing the I would die for you and pointing to him, and he kind of looked over at us.
I like Melissa how you're like, yes, my first of many times.
I know. Wow.
So the 12-inch version was it totally different from the album version, right? Wasn't it like a 21-minute live version or something?
Edited down from a 47-minute version, which is so
See, I'd be
boring.
into that. I need to hear that.
Here it is.
Yes.
Yeah, me too.
It's that, but like every part is like 50 times as long.
But the
Wow.
part where he tells Wendy, it's like, does she only know 4 chords? Because she plays the same 4 chords in like every song.
I do love Waterfall though. That was such a great song.
I
4
love when
chords.
they said it's above my pay grade, trash them. Sorry.
I like
Four chords.
fruit at the bottom.
Oh my god.
Are you my baby is my song, but guess what? 4 chords. Next time you listen to Wendy Lisa's song, honestly, go listen. 4 chords.
What's that one with Katie Lang? Mother of Pearl? 4 chords. All right.
The one with Grace Jones. That's a great song.
Oh, that something blood. What was it?
Yeah, Williams Blood.
Well, I got the Williams blood in me. That
That's
was
a
so
great
good.
song.
There's a remix of it, the aeroplane remix. If you can find it, it's so good.
Isn't that her Hurricane remixed?
No, it was like some promo dance remix. It's like a really chilled dance remix of that song.
We're gonna do Grace Jones Phonogenics someday too. I love Grace. All right. So does it weird you guys out when the single edit of "I Would Die for You" plays and it doesn't go into "Baby I'm a Star"? Like I feel like these two songs.
It
has a nice fade.
Yes, it just flows in.
But if you listen to it on shuffle from a CD, it's annoying because it's like it ends abruptly because and it doesn't have a star attached to it, and you're like, fuck.
Okay, we all like "Baby I'm a Star," don't we?
I'm wearing "Baby I'm a Star" eyeshadow from the Prince Urban Decay collection.
It's like "We Will Rock You" and "We Are the Champions." Like you have to hear them both together, otherwise it's weird.
Yes.
Yeah.
Exactly right.
Did they go together? I didn't realize. I'm not a Queen
Unless
fan.
you skip
Yeah.
"I Would Die for You," and then Case. Then.
I love his use of
If
incorrect
you're
English
some sort
here.
of maniac and you would skip that song, then yes, you would be used to it. Not.
What's he doing incorrect in the English, Aisha?
Baby, but I are, not baby,
yeah.
but I am.
Oh,
I love the fact that he did that. And I'm a stickler for good,
proper English.
proper English.
Yes, I are. I'm a star.
Oh,
Because that's
speaking
what
of-
rhymes.
Speaking of
Yeah,
grammar,
because if it was going to be "I Am," it had to be "Baby I'm a Ham." And that's, nobody wants to hear
I know.
that.
Yeah, that's someone else in the band, right? No.
speaking of
Oh,
"I Would Die for You," so the letter U is the 21st letter in the alphabet.
Yeah.
So I would die 421, and it's like
Oh,
yeah.
Wait, I don't get it.
yeah, I'm kind of
Yeah.
lost.
421 is when he died.
Oh,
So U is the 21st letter. I've heard that too.
But that's
Oh, that's
also
the-
the first time that he used the lettering, the 4 and the U.
No,
in a
he used
song.
it in the last album. 'Cause
Didn't
I-
you
Yeah.
All the
jack
critics-
you off with the U?
Yeah, and all the critics love you in New York. But I think maybe I don't know.
This is the first four, though.
yeah, the first four.
First number.
Yeah. Mm.
Got all this shit talking. We're gonna have it's gonna be as controversial as the Ann Fearman erotica podcast.
The most hated podcast in Jeremy's collection.
I love it. I still get messages. So good.
Crazy? White gay men hate me. It's such a weird thing.
I love you. All right.
man, Jeffrey, that's some Paul McCartney is dead level
I know.
detective work. Good
That
work.
gave me
man.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that is creepy.
Do we have anything else to say about "Baby I'm a Star" other than love it?
Such a good
Jill,
song.
Jill Jones on backups there, right? On that one.
I don't know.
Tight.
I love the
Tight
live
song.
versions. I really love the live versions. When
All
he gets
right.
all show busy and vampy and stuff.
Right.
Yeah, that's so good.
All right. The moment we've been waiting for. Aisha, tell
Not
us
my
what
favorite.
tell us what you think of "Purple Rain."
Not my favorite. If I skip it, I do know the whole song. I mean, I've heard it many times,
Okay,
but
sure.
if it's on and I can't turn it off, I'll listen to it. But it does nothing for me.
Mm.
Hmm. Hmm. Hmm.
And you're like, hmm.
It's
You know,
like,
I
I
also,
mean,
I
I'm
also
just, I'm,
I skipped
What
that
does-
scene in the movie too.
Oh,
what do you need it to do for you, Aisha, that it is not doing? Because it's a bit like if Joshua were here, Bean,
I think
It's
because
he
it
would
was.
be all over this ballad.
I think it because it was
Yeah.
insincere on Prince's part is that he was trying to create a big ballad, big rock ballad. I mean, and literally that's what he told people he was trying to do. And it comes
Good
off
job.
it comes off
He
to me
did.
like he tried to do it.
Oh, okay.
no, this is a
can-
masterpiece. This
yeah.
song is just a masterpiece.
I
When
think
he
I.
sings it live, when he would sing it live, and people,
Oh.
and it would
Every
just be
fucking
like
time
this
it would cry.
swell, yeah. I
Even
mean,
when I saw him in concert, I was just like,
I wish I could fast forward this.
No, I love that Aisha is fearlessly, and I'm sure you're quite aware that you're probably alone in this one.
No, I'm not. No, I'm not.
On this podcast, I
on this
mean.
podcast,
Yeah.
probably, but there are quite a few people who are just like, it's not my favorite.
Well, no, that's not the song that I
prefer-
would go to, but I don't skip it. This is the difference.
I do think it's epic.
See,
For
I have
sure.
to be not near anything, and it comes on, and I won't skip it. But to me, it just sounds tedious. It's like, is this song going to end already? His guitar playing is excellent. Don't get me wrong, but I'm just like, is this song going to end already? I prefer Sometimes It Snows in April as a ballad at the end of the album
Oh,
to
I
this
do
one.
love that.
Not me.
It's
And
beautiful.
I can't, and the truth is, I can't even listen to that one. Like I said, I prefer it to this one, but I can't even listen to that one.
Those are two songs that I have not wanted to listen to at all since he died. I Purple Rain, I used to listen to quite often, and I actually don't like it anymore. Not don't like it. It's just it brings it really home to me that Prince is dead when I hear that song, and I don't fucking like that feeling. So
yeah, I get that.
it really like bums me out because it's just like that song is so alive to me, and like it just I don't like it.
I DJ'd a Prince night, and we played it at the end of the night, and it hit a little bit harder than I expected it to.
No,
Yeah.
it brings everybody down. Like their mood is just like
Mhm.
somber when that
Not
comes on.
mine.
There's a story that when he was working on it, he was worried that it sounded a little bit too much like a Journey song. I don't want to say it was Faithfully. And he reached out to
That was the song, yeah.
and he reached out to the guys in Journey and said, "Hey, what do you guys think? Am I ripping you off?" And they're like, "No, it's cool." But if you listen to them back to back, you can kind of hear it. So
Yeah.
Yeah. That's interesting.
That scene from the movie is so epic.
Here's the thing. I can't remember who he was talking about, if it was Bruce Springsteen or someone else, but Prince said that, I can do so-and-so song. I think it was you too. He could do like Joshua
Bob
Tree
Seger.
or
Yeah.
whomever
Yeah.
it was, but they can't do
You
a
too.
song. They can't do a song like Housequake. I
Oh,
feel
yeah.
like Purple Rain
Right.
was kind of him kind of showing off a bit, proving that, look, I'm a black man, I can do this too. And it was just kind of like, why do you have to prove this to people?
Oh, that Super Bowl performance, though. Oh,
Oh yeah.
Now, when he performed it at the Super Bowl, I'll tell you, I
Come on.
did watch that performance. That was actually one time where it caught me, and I was kind of like,
The only time I've watched a Super Bowl.
Yeah. But
So that
With the
performance-
rain coming down.
Yeah,
It's just,
I don't know.
Performance.
I'm like the minority on this one, but I feel like the Super Bowl performance was like not one of his better performances. I've seen him in
What?
so many times, and was just literally
It was
like,
so
walked out of it.
perfect.
Well,
oh, it was
Prince scale.
perfect.
I was.
I don't think it ranks on the Prince scale, but if you rank it on the Super Bowl halftime,
I know,
Yes.
but like, see,
Yes.
I can't,
Yes.
I can't not rank it on based on seeing him in real life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
I can
he's
see
just-
that.
now,
So-
Anne, you didn't watch Madonna's Super Bowl performance?
Who? I don't know that person.
I don't know her.
I don't know her. No, I didn't. Was it recent? Oh,
No.
sweet mother of God. Was it
No.
recent?
2012. So,
Oh, but she's still receiving AARP though, and then coming out in a bustier showing everyone her crotch, right? Good for you, Madonna.
or she'll
Ooh.
dress like Liberace and do a Prince tribute.
Here's the thing.
Yeah,
I just
right.
want to say this. There's a quote I read about Evita, Eva Peron, and because she's always like vilified as like this uberly sexual woman who took down men, right? And somebody had said, somebody who worked with a man, it was like she was the least sexual woman I've ever met, and I always think that about Madonna.
Wow.
One
She
thing-
is the least, like she wears all of her clothes, and I'm always like, doesn't matter what you wear, girl. Everything you wear is like makes you unsexier, like you're never gonna be the sex book, right? Like, and good for you. You have a published book that shows you at your greatest, we have a couple Polaroids taken of us if we're lucky when we are looking our good, our best. But like, stop, okay? Because now you're just fucking gross and weird and, like freaking everybody out. And nobody wants to go home and have sex after they've been rubbing up on you or had to see you. That's just how I feel about her.
Well, the fun thing about the Super Bowl performance was when Mariah ate it on New Year's Eve and blamed it on the weather and my monitors. Prince fans were like, "Really? Because look what our guy did."
Right.
Yeah.
She just stopped singing and the track was playing with her voice and everything.
I know.
Right.
She's like, I'm just gonna walk with my microphone.
I watched that so many times.
Too bad.
That's
the weather
hilarious.
conditions were too hard, Mariah. We're
I'll admit I watched the Madonna when she gets like pulled down the stairs during Living for
Wait,
Love.
no.
Someone did on a loop, and I watched that shit for like an hour one day.
Did she fall on the stage?
Yeah.
She got like dragged down, like her cape didn't open or something like that.
I made one of those Lady Gaga Chromatica 2 into 911 to the Madonna falling off the stage.
Someone posted on Twitter the other day, like Prince busted his ass during some song. It was like
I've seen it. Oh my God.
He totally recovered, but he's
Yeah.
like he's like walking and he's like slipping.
I saw that
one. Like the video.
And he jumps right up.
Aisha, what were you going to say about the BET Awards?
BET trolled the hell out of Madonna's Prince performance, okay? Her Prince tribute. So within seconds after it ended, they tweet, "We saw that, we got you." And then they have Prince tribute on Twitter.
Mm-hmm.
I'm
It was
offended
the
that
funniest
Madonna
thing.
felt that she was a part of any Prince tribute. I'm offended.
She's saying nothing compares to you.
Sinead O'Connor's version.
Yeah.
Not the version that Prince himself recorded.
She's so.
What my friend Oki said, though, and then we'll get back to Prince.
Can Madonna not sing a dance song also?
Madonna should have had 2 thrones up there, like her in one and then an empty one. So it would have been like the Prince and the Queen of Pop. I thought that would have been very profound if she would have done that.
But Prince wouldn't have liked it, though. He would not.
Of all times for Prince to be right about that, I would go with Prince on that one.
Okay, so in the movie, Wendy and Lisa wrote Purple Rain as an instrumental track, and Prince refused to listen to it, and then refused to let the band play it. And then he finally wrote a song to it, and that's the big finale of the movie. And then when the orchestra comes in, he's pacing in the dressing room. Talk about great cinema, right?
Yeah.
Like amazing.
Oh my gosh.
And then he hears the crowd and like, all right, I'll go back out there.
A triumphant.
And go to jail. Hi.
Yeah. Oh. So
yeah, he was ready to get on the bike and go home. Remember, he heard the crowd in the alley. Yeah, he was out of there. Like, screw this noise.
Well, we still do have a few B-sides.
Oh my God. His pacing in the movie, though, drove me crazy.
Oh, I loved it.
Oh, it was so cute.
The drama.
Him going back and forth.
The drama.
In the deleted scene, Prince takes his bike to the Dairy Queen, and then he's like, "You know what? I'm full. I'm gonna go."
No.
The pacing, I'm like, if you don't stop, I'm gonna get like motion sickness.
So cute. So cute when he's angry.
And we do need to give a shout out to our buddy Brenda Bennett, who was, even though she only had a couple lines in Purple Rain, we love our Brenda.
It was just one, wasn't it?
Yeah, what'd she say? Let's get out of here.
No, it was like, why don't you let us come up with our own steps?
Yeah, that's right.
That. Yeah.
Brown Mark didn't have any lines in it.
Nothing. Yep.
Emmy Award.
Looking at his watch.
All right. Well, any thoughts on the song Purple Rain before we move on to the B-sides and outtakes?
Beautiful.
You know, for the longest time, people were saying that's basically a country song, and I didn't hear it. But then I heard a country version of it. And I'm like, oh, I get it. I totally get it now.
I heard Darius Rucker sing it.
Yeah.
The country version.
Yeah.
Let's just talk about country for a second. There's a couple songs in life you just shouldn't cover, and Purple Rain is fucking one of them. So
right
out there.
However, I will tell you, Patti LaBelle did take it to church at the Prince tribute in 2010 when he got his BET Lifetime Achievement Award. That was actually really, really good.
I feel like Patty gets a free pass. After
I
those pies she
agree.
made.
I agree.
And she threw her shoe. She threw her shoe and Prince caught it.
So she finally found her backup singers. You guys ever see that Christmas video of hers? Where's my backup singers?
Patti LaBelle is America's aunt, not aunt, aunt.
Yep.
America's aunt. Yeah.
I drove around 15 Walmarts looking for her pies one year. And
oh my gosh.
They're so good. Oh my God, they're so good.
They're so good. Okay.
I've never tried them.
Oh my. Leave
I
this
love
No,
sweet
podcast.
potato
I
pie.
did. And I probably chose poorly, but I chose the peach that had the extra topping.
You need the sweet potato, baby.
No,
Yeah,
sweet potato pie
I
is my
chose poorly.
favorite.
Yeah, okay. All right. I would not have encouraged the peach with the extra topping at all.
Now who's a psycho?
Peach pie is my favorite, though, and I
Sweet
thought,
potato pie is my
But
favorite.
you're right. I mean, I'll eat sweet potato pie. Oh, yeah.
And that's like going to a Nathan's and ordering a hamburger.
That's
I actually
exactly
did
what
that
I would
to
have
Dominic.
done, though. But
I mean, I have to be
not a huge
honest.
fan of hot dogs.
I'm not a
That's
huge
not
fan of my
true.
sister's sweet potato pie. I'm not a huge fan of my sister's sweet potato pie. I hate to say it.
Patty's is better.
Patty's
You
is
just said it
better.
on a podcast forever and ever and
well,
ever.
I know.
You know,
My
my sister,
sister's gonna see this and go, wait, what?
my sister is allergic to cinnamon and nutmeg, and so she leaves those spices out.
How dare
Oh.
she?
What she substitutes in it for a little punch is orange. I'm
Oh.
allergic to freaking orange. Okay, so this is before I had the allergy.
So
Before
she's
allergy
choosing
appeared.
her own allergies over yours, Aisha, which is not
Well-
what a good
Well,
host
for a while.
is.
Well, initially I didn't have this allergy. It was one that kind of popped up and it popped up with anaphylaxis. So that's how I found it. But I went before the allergy. I like my grandmother's.
We're all gonna meet and eat some fucking sweet potato
I got-
pie and
I
talk
may-
about Prince.
yeah.
Sweet potato pie.
All right, let's zip through these B-sides. I'm gonna go in order of the releases. So, of course, the B-side to When Doves Cry was 17 Days, which
Classic.
this is my moment.
Favorite.
I got to jump up on stage with Brenda Bennett over in Rhode Island and sing backups on 17 Days, and Clark was in the
Oh.
audience
I was there.
No
Yeah.
way!
Yeah, I
Wow.
got to see that. Yeah,
That's
because the
awesome.
song was originally written for Apollonia 6, correct?
think so.
You can
Yeah.
hear some
For
of
Brenda
Brenda's.
Bennett to sing
Yep.
leave, right?
You can still hear some of Brenda's background vocals in the Revolution recording. 17 days.
Yeah.
And she re-recorded the track as a duet with her son Dylan on her last album once again.
Aw.
That
So
was a fun night.
she's so fucking Brenda's the best. What do y'all think of 17 Days?
Love it.
Classic.
Heard it. I don't know any of these.
Oh, Anne,
You
you'd
don't
like
know
those.
it? Oh my god.
Yes, Anne, yes, you do. 'Cause
I
we listen-
probably do, but I
We
don't
listened to
Oh
the
my
B-side CD.
remember.
We listened to the B-side CD at a certain person's house Christmas
Did
Eve.
we? Oh! Well, my mind was somewhere else, Jerry.
You definitely heard this song, but you may have been
Didn't
occupied.
Living Color
I
cover
don't
this?
think that it was. Yeah. So I bet it would trigger something though, like
Yeah.
a memory of that night.
Moving on.
I think Living Color covered it too.
Was it good?
Did they?
Yeah, I think it was pretty. It was
Right.
heavier, obviously, because
Yeah.
they're a heavier band, but it was good. Yeah.
So the B-side to Let's Go Crazy. Are we all fans of Erotic City?
Classic.
Oh, yeah,
Yes, yes,
Classic.
yes, yes.
That's,
I do remember that song.
that's a hot track.
I have a funny
Yeah.
story. So I picked up the songs on Ultimate Prince, which was the greatest hits album. And for all this
You're in the
time-
liner notes. Your name's in the liner notes.
Yes, Above the Revolution, which I do not deserve at all. So whoever did that, was not trying to do that, but thank you anyway. So my whole thing was like, I'm putting 12-inch versions on there that, because everyone always talks about the only time you could get Erotic City on CD, the 12-inch version, was that import single that was like not really official. It was like some schlocky thing. So I was like, it'll be on an album for the first time, and it was like I was really excited to put that. And She's Always in My Hair 12-inch version. That was like my two songs that I was so excited to put out there for the fans. And they were like, Prince doesn't want to have anything to do with it, so you guys can just do whatever. And so we got it on there, and I always thought,
Thank you.
I always thought, well, no, wait, let me finish. I always thought that they played it on the radio by my house, so I always thought that they were saying funk. I mean, even though it does sound like they say fuck, but I never knew 100%. And so, anyway, as a courtesy, Warner Brothers sent a copy of Ultimate Prince to Prince, and Prince did not want Erotic City on there because of the F word. And so Warner Brothers comes back to me, and they're like, "You have to take that song off because Prince. That's the only one that like he definitely does not want on there." And so I was like, well, that confirms that he says fuck. So
Wow.
if you read like any review of Ultimate Prince, they're like, what a great selection of songs, but it doesn't have Erotic City on it. And I'm like, it did.
Now,
Wow.
I gotta say something.
And then that CD, they pressed like 2 copies of it. One was like my CDRs that I burned for Warner Brothers, and they burned a copy of that for Prince. And they made like 2 copies of it. And that's apparently one of the biggest Prince collectibles in like Prince history.
Wow.
Original.
It's still
So-
impressive.
Wow.
Nice try. Good effort.
So I will say, when Ultimate Prince came out, little did I know I'd be friends with the person responsible for this. But I remember sitting there and being like, whoever put this together, why isn't the Mountains 12-inch on there? So Jeffrey, it took 15 years. Now I have the person in front of me. Why isn't Mountains on there?
Well, Warner Brothers only let us do I couldn't put all 12-inch versions. I had to put a selected list of songs.
Okay.
So with what was left, I basically said, okay, can I put these songs on there? And they were like, we can try. And nobody
Okay.
said anything. And so we couldn't put Bat Dance on there because of the samples from Batman.
Right.
So that was never, that wasn't on there. And that's another one because that was a #1 hit. So people were like, what the fuck? You didn't put Bat Dance on there. And it's like, we couldn't because it was, contractually obligated. And we couldn't put Most Beautiful Girl in the World because that was
NPG, right?
after the Warner Brothers thing. And so the original sequence of it was mixed in. It started off with the Purple Medley, and then it had 7-inch versions and then 12-inch versions. And I thought it was a really great party mix. And it started off, the second disc opened with with Kiss 12-inch version. And then the very last song was going to be My Name is Prince. And so after you heard this 2-hour CD, it ends with him going, My name is Prince. And I was like, oh, genius. And he fucking didn't want that.
That was a big deal when that came out, though, because that was the first time he had a lot of those 12-inch versions.
Which album are you talking about?
It's called Ultimate Prince. It just says like Prince and then Ultimate. And like,
Oh, okay.
It would have the white cover.
It's kind of a joke that nobody knows if
He's
it's
like
really
black,
Ultimate Prince
and he's
or Prince Ultimate.
Mhm.
Nobody really knows.
Well, you know what I have? I have a Girls and Boys 12-inch backside Erotic City.
Oh yeah, it was like it was released in some country, I think.
Yeah, there must have been an import.
Yes, it is. It is, and I love it. And
Oh.
I won't tell you what I paid for it. I love it.
Listen, I paid $200 for the damn Rhinestone soundtrack. Dolly Parton.
It's got 2 that I wanted on the same album.
Oh, so anyway, Jeremy, the answer to your question of why Mountains isn't on there is because there was just no time for everything. I mean,
Right, of course.
I tried to put everything possible, and so like I felt like I got away with something by putting "She's Always in My Hair" because they didn't know that wasn't a hit song. They thought they were like, oh, and so they didn't like check, and I was like, great, So that was like.
I feel like Always in My Hair is better than a lot of the stuff that actually was on around the world in a day.
Well,
So Erotic City.
If we're putting wish lists together, my birthday's coming up in February, and I would love to have the 12-inch Mountains and the 26-minute long America. Anybody who has that, so.
If you send me a note, I can find a way to get them to you.
All right.
I'd love 12 inches for my birthday too.
Oh, for the love of God!
Okay, so
You take
Prince-
a beautiful moment like my birthday wish and turn it into one of your weird deals.
Yes. I love it.
oh, and there goes my Patreon subscribers, and there goes
Not at all. You should be getting new ones now.
I'm gonna be moving my podcast over to OnlyFans. Okay, so Prince went to see George Clinton in concert, correct? And then he was so inspired by the funk, didn't he go right to the studio and record Erotic City? Isn't that the legend?
That's
That's
what
the
I've
story
heard.
I've heard. Yeah.
That's the story. But I think somebody went back and checked the dates, and since
Oh.
he must have been kind of off. But it's not just George Clinton. It's one song, Not Just Knee Deep. Was the song that they were playing that inspired it. And if you know that song, that's my favorite
Oh,
Parliament song. But yeah, and so every time I hear Erotic City, I always think of Not Just Knee Deep. I
I
used
have to go back and check it out.
little dancing in the
good song.
bathtub to that song when my dad would play the record.
Very interesting that
80 the other day. Who
That's
would have
like
thought
2.
that was Prince?
George just celebrated his 80th birthday the other day.
He did.
Yep.
And who's the vocalist on Erotic City? Sheila E.
Yep.
You know,
Go-
it's so
go
funny
ahead.
though. The radio around me, like the pop radio wouldn't play it. Black radio played it all day, all night, with the curse words, getting FCC. They didn't care. They just kept playing it. It was like in my town had its own like radio, like top 10 or whatever. It was like number 1 because they just
They
played
put
it.
it in LA too.
It's interesting because like Erotic City was a B-side. Darling Nikki was like pretty much like a deep album cut, but they were hits. They were never singles, but everyone knows those songs.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, Erotic City was huge by us.
That talks about the legacy of this era and this album.
Yeah.
All right, so the B-side. Oh, go ahead. Any
I
other
was
thoughts?
just going to say that on Erotic City, the story I heard was that Sheila said she was singing funk. She wasn't singing the F word. She was singing funk.
Yeah, supposedly she sings funk and he sings fuck.
Yeah.
But especially knowing that he wrote "We Can Fuck" during this era. Now,
Mhm.
and actually, the
at
handwritten
the
lyrics have
face.
come out since his death, and he definitely wrote "fuck" on there. So,
Yeah.
And does this song do something to you?
Erotic City. I love it. I think it's a great song, but no, it actually doesn't. And you know why? I think it's because I heard it with you. I don't mean it like that. I don't mean it like that.
What a horrible thing to
Look what you
say.
did, Jeremy.
Wow.
I didn't mean it like that. I meant that, you know, like the other sexy albums were just me and Prince. You know,
Okay, yeah.
he was singing to me.
To you.
You know, to me.
So hold on.
But with their B-sides, I listen to the B-sides with you. Saying
Okay, so the B-sides. Purple Rain. The B-side was a song called God. It's an acapella. I think I listened to it once and I really don't care about it. So someone else want to take this one and tell me why I am missing out or
Yeah.
not?
movie.
That B-side to a song I don't really care for. So.
It's
Okay.
in the movie, the instrumental.
The instrumental is a piece
Yeah.
of beauty. The one with vocals is like weird, but it was recorded in one take.
Yeah.
Sounds like it.
There's a rehearsal of it where he gets really pissed at Wendy because I guess she was like, he kept doing this one part over and over again. And she was like, she wasn't paying attention, I guess. And Prince fucking yells at her and he's like, put the motherfucking magazine down.
Oh no. How old was Wendy? She was pretty young, wasn't she?
I love it.
I
Wasn't she like 18 at
She
this point?
said she
Yeah.
was 19.
think she was 19.
Okay.
And the thing is that the way he was, the passion in his voice and how pissed he was, you can tell it's like borderline abuse, but
Oh.
it's so ridiculous, it's almost kind of funny.
Oh my God, there's a recording of a fight between Prince and Miko Weaver. And oh my
Who's
God,
that?
you want to talk about nasty. He was the guitarist in the Expanded Revolution.
2 albums from now. Is
Yeah,
when-
Parade. And oh my God, you want to talk about nasty.
You need to put that in the chat.
I feel like Wendy's always been 35.
Mike, we just had to be nicer about Wendy and Lisa on this podcast.
My goodness.
But you know what though? She said she was 19. She might have been 19 in Prince years, which means 21.
Right.
Mm.
She did look 35. She did look 35.
I still wanted to hear about the fight, though.
Oh, yeah.
Are we
Yeah.
done talking about that? What's the fight over?
No, I want to see it. Put it in our
Yeah,
messenger
I wanna see
chat.
it, and oh, it's on video?
That's what she said.
Aisha, it's on video?
It's on audio, but it's on YouTube. Sorry. It's
Oh,
on
it's
YouTube.
on audio?
Oh,
Yes,
Okay.
you can
yeah,
hear
we're
it.
gonna listen to
And it is horrible. Oh my God.
Oh, no. All right. So
Because
the
Miko says that Prince was jealous of him because all the girls were clamoring for him and not Prince, and Prince was leaving like the venues alone. And
Oh,
I
wow.
don't see that being true.
I mean, neither. That's absurd. That is an absurd thing.
I
if you
nothing
left
against
alone, it was
Miko,
by
but-
but
choice.
you know what though? I gotta say this.
Yeah.
I can actually see it. You know why? Because women would be afraid to go up to him.
After seeing the way he
Be
treated
honest.
Apollonia in Purple Rain,
Well, No, not for
Not my
that
friends.
not for that reason, but
know.
it's like, you think about it. Is he gonna take, people fangirling all over him? It's like, ugh,
Exactly.
I lost my lust right there.
Mm.
It just made it go down. However, he had issues with that. Him and the many women. So.
The many, which is another podcast on its own. Okay,
Well, apparently, if you want the lust to really go down, you just listen to Erotic City with Jeremy Gloff, and it just dries up.
I just want to mention that the third person that it wasn't a threesome. Yeah, it was. It was. It was. This person will not accept our friend request on Facebook.
We cannot understand why.
Who?
We're not gonna name
You
it.
can't say his name on.
Say his
It's someone
name.
from our hometown.
But that is the that's where we were listening to the B
The B-sides.
The
I'm
B-sides.
sorry, Ann. Do you want me to edit
No,
that
not
out?
at all. It's hilarious.
Okay.
No.
The B-side to "I Would Die for You" was a stripped down song called "Another Lonely Christmas." How do you all feel about that one?
Love
I
it.
feel like
I feel like we definitely listened to that because our
I wasn't
threesome
lonely
was around
that-
Christmas
that
Eve.
Christmas.
Yeah. But but I don't remember it at all though.
It's so sad.
It's
I drink
super
banana
sad.
daiquiris every Christmas Eve.
It's not one of my favorite Prince songs.
It's
Banana
just
daiquiris.
sad.
That's in the song, Anne.
That's
It
what I
might be the-
assumed. Yes,
It
I
might be
assumed
the
that.
least Christmassy Christmas song ever released.
I know.
Right.
Maybe.
Christmas
It
is
is.
supposed to be
It's
about
kinda
joy,
depressing.
not death.
Oh,
Yeah, it's depressing.
Can you imagine
Oh, I
sitting out with
probably
the
will
kids
like
on
it
Christmas
then.
morning and opening the
Probably will
presents
like
and
it.
putting that on? That'd be kind of nice, right?
Yeah, which I don't think he meant.
That's
for it to
actually
be played
that
at
sounds like a
Christmas.
great Christmas list for me.
Sing along, kids.
Anyway, but yeah, I'm gonna.
I mean,
Although
that
it
was
was kind of
nice.
weird
Being a
in
badass and do whatever the fuck he wanted. I mean, that was
Mhm.
kind of the beauty of it because the song God also. I mean, it's like 17 Days is like your typical, like could have fit on the album Purple Rain.
right.
And then
Yeah.
God is like a completely like weird acapella
Artsy.
Artsy.
And then,
Oh, that would have ruined the album.
and then Erotic City is
Yeah,
like a
I'm
song
glad
that
it did not
can't even
appear
come
on
on any
it.
album,
Yeah.
it's just-
I feel
Yeah,
like
he went from one extreme to the other.
yeah, which was great. I mean, he was, like
Is the instrumental of God on the deluxe Purple Rain? Because that
it-
in the movie
I
it's
think
great.
so.
yeah.
now my friend Rhonda Kay taught me something years ago that there's art, then there's art.
Yes.
I feel like God is art. Like he's making art.
But there's a smoking guitar solo on the instrumental. Now I'll praise
Yeah.
that all day long. So
I never listened that far.
That's fucking good. And there's art.
It's art.
Mhm.
I feel like Madonna thinks she's an artist now, and that's why
Oh, now she's always thought she was an artist. Are you kidding? She is the worst.
Okay, let's move on to Purple Rain, the deluxe edition.
Ooh.
Were there any songs that people loved that were outtakes? We're just gonna
I would
open
say
the
one
floor.
song that I had been looking forward to most out of any song in the Prince legend, which was Electric Intercourse, to hear the studio version, and I am kind of disappointed with it because
I was
the live
too.
version is so amazing that we kind of got ruined.
Wasn't there a rumor that he recorded the vocals like more recently?
I've heard that rumor as well, but I don't think it's true because I mean, well, his voice never really went south, but like it just to me it sounds like it was recorded then. But I definitely have heard also that some of the people in the Prince vaults are, even though they're claiming not to, they're doing some Frankenstein remixes of stuff, so it would not surprise me if they've done some of that.
He's
I
just
want
not
the
hitting
Des
the notes
Dickerson
there.
song.
What about it?
I said I want the Des Dickerson song.
That's on that too. Remind me, I have that.
Okay, cool. I gotta send you an email.
Send me a note, yeah.
All right.
Wasn't the remaster of Purple Rain completed before he passed away? Wasn't that like an NPG project? And wasn't it a little bit controversial?
They claim, but like I think that the unreleased songs were not part of that.
Right.
I'm
Right.
not Not sure.
Only the album proper.
It was,
remastered.
yeah, just the main album.
I think they rushed it out because Purple Rain Special Edition, as we know from Dwayne's book, could have been a multi-disc box set. And
Right.
unfortunately, they're going to probably milk the fans for that eventually because they fucked up kind of.
Yeah, they rushed that.
But
But you know what though about that was the thing is that was one of the things Prince was supposed to do to get his masters back from WB, was that he was supposed to do this deluxe
Oh, that's right.
album, but he was
Yeah.
they also wanted him to tour with the Revolution, which was something he did not want to do. So that's why they were slow on the ball with putting that deluxe thing out, and also with kind of giving him back his things.
So the Revolution are like, well, we're ready for the tour.
Yeah. That makes a lot more sense now.
Bags packed right at the door, just waiting for the phone to ring. Yeah.
Like the photographer was like waiting in a van out front. I'm here to do the photo session.
Oh my God.
Great.
Okay. There was some good stuff on this deluxe edition. I liked
Love and Sex was a song that I'd never heard before in any way before the deluxe. And I mean, that was a great surprise because I fucking love that song.
I guess like Our Destiny and Roadhouse Garden, that stuff to talk about next time, right? That didn't go with Purple Rain. Wasn't that more?
Sign of the times, I thought.
Yeah, what became like Dream Factory.
85 years.
Yeah.
But, yeah, they rushed this stuff out. But I mean, you know, the studio versions of those leaked right after Prince died.
What about Wonderful Lass? Was that something he wrote with Jill?
Yeah.
I thought so.
There's also a Jill Jones vocal version of Roadhouse Garden.
Now I liked We Can Fuck. I thought that was the song I was waiting to hear the original of.
Oh, it was so good because that Graffiti Bridge one was like, ugh.
I actually liked the Graffiti Bridge one with George Clinton.
Did you? I
I really do.
Did Jill sing on
I
We
did
Can
too.
Fuck? That's Jill, right?
Yeah, she's all over that one.
Yeah.
It's crazy because, like, I mean, to think that he saved that song for 7 more years, and then also that he was writing that during Purple Rain, and just like hearing that in its completed form just blew my fucking mind. I mean, like although I think some of the choices on the deluxe weren't the greatest, like Velvet Kitty Cat and Katrina's Paper Dolls.
That's for Vanity 6 songs, right?
The fact that they included We Can Fuck because that was never going to be included in Purple Rain. So the fact that even got out there is pretty amazing.
Right.
That's my favorite one on the deluxe.
And there's several versions of it though. They
Yeah.
chose that one to put on the deluxe
Mhm.
edition. All the other ones basically sound similar to the one on Graffiti Bridge.
Okay.
And I think I like that because I like whatever accent it is he puts on the guitar. It just because it reminds me a lot of it. It also puts me in the frame of Funkadelic with Not Just Knee Deep, because on the live version of that they have Not Just Knee Deep, the reprise.
Okay.
And there's the bass line sounds just like his guitar. So it's actually something to check out.
So just for fun, what do y'all think the estate has up their sleeves next? Because we have this new Welcome to America coming out in like 2 days. What do you think is next? Parade?
Because Dwayne's book really kind of shows them. They already decided the times.
Which I think they did a good job on that one.
Mm-hmm. So they know they're gonna have to do Parade because fans are asking for it, and this book doing so well,
Right.
they're gonna try and cash in on that.
If I had a vote, I would request a compilation of best live tracks throughout all the different eras. I'd pay for a triple album with that.
Like, see, they couldn't put it out as a triple album because it would be like a watered down, crappy. It would have to be
Really?
like a 10 CD box set, and that's not. I don't know
Yeah.
if that's gonna happen. I mean,
I hear it.
Now I know you can take the sign of the times and sequence it yourself, but I'd love, because I'm lazy,
some live stuff.
I want Roadhouse Garden in its original incarnation. I think that'd be cool.
I don't know about that either.
Yeah, that won't happen.
Yeah.
My
All right.
favorite would be the gold and a gold and come like era box set, which I know will never happen because it's not a commercially viable era. But that was like to me his like last great period.
The last
Those
two
are
rap.
great albums.
Fire.
Yeah.
He was
Yeah.
on fire creatively, ruining it
Yeah.
in the studio because shit wasn't getting released and kept remixing it.
I didn't have Come listed as an album to discuss. Does that need to be discussed?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
I think so. I love that album.
Could it be
Yes.
paired? Could it be paired with Gold Experience, or do they each need to be their own?
I know that could be paired with Gold Experience. It's sort of like the Rubber Soul and
Revolver.
Revolver.
Revolver. Yeah.
Yeah, so let's tackle those two together.
Okay.
Wait,
I really
wait,
had-
Anne, have you heard Come?
No.
You haven't heard that
What's
one? Oh,
no?
okay.
What's on that one?
No.
Let It Go was the
Nothing.
single.
Like nothing.
Nothing.
Yeah.
It's
No. Is it when he was with the
very
that-
sexual.
He was-
I
he
actually
was
like the
solo.
song Come.
Really?
I do.
I can't imagine. I'm gonna listen to it, obviously.
I just remember,
Good.
like, at the time there was like 4 unreleased bootleg versions circulating. There was like a version where he kind of like talked the lyrics, and there was like a dance version, and then there was like a kind of like a rock version, and then there was like a different version of the rock version.
Oh wow.
So then he announces an album called Come, and we're like, which version is it going to be? And
Which
guess
one
what?
was it?
It was an entirely different 11-minute jazz,
Oh my
like,
gosh.
dancey version. And you're like,
Yeah.
of course.
I actually
Of course.
like that version of the song. I really do,
great.
except for the tongue action.
I think he had to have been
Part.
eating somebody out during that recording.
Yeah, I
Somebody out during that recording.
wouldn't doubt it. Just because.
Do you
it-
think
it's
Prince liked eating out? I'm gonna put this out there, okay? Because I question that.
Oh, I
question.
think he talks
Yeah.
about it a lot.
I'm
Does
putting
he?
down-
But they're not always his own stories, are they?
Can I say
I
something?
can see him being like, "Bitch,
Can I say
please,
something?
You can do it to me, but I'm not doing it to you."
No.
Yes, Aisha, tell me I'm wrong.
Yeah. A lot of black men like.
Sure, I'm not suggesting it's
No,
because
no,
of
I'm
the,
just-
you know,
I'm-
the
I'm
idea
just-
that black
no, no,
men don't.
No,
I
I'm
just
not saying
find
that.
Prince fastidious.
No, I'm
that's
just
the word
I'm just saying that is a thing. It was his thing without me.
Really?
saying-
Well, I
without me
wouldn't doubt that he
saying
was
who-
good at it.
There
you
is
know?
there is someone there is someone that he dated later on who told
Okay.
me this was his thing.
I have one thing to say to everybody. If there's ever any question about, we all need to go to listen to Marvin Cease, Candy Liquor. Do you all know that song?
No.
I'm gonna lick you up. Gonna lick you down.
Well, that doesn't sound
I know
very
that
poetic.
song. Oh my gosh.
Because Aisha, you're saying that, you know, black men like to do that, and Marvin Cease on his song Candy Liquor.
Marvin
Please
Cease,
put that in
Marvin,
I do think that
Marvin
it was.
Gaye,
I do
during the I
I
Want
have
You
heard
album.
of
I mean,
it as
it's
a
just
stereotype against black men,
it's not a
but I
stereotype.
don't believe that
It's
it's
just
and it's
culture.
true. It's just like it's a cultural thing. Yeah, I understand. I just feel like Prince was fastidious and would have been like, "Girl, you know, did you clean that?" You know, kind of a thing.
I mean, I think he got right in there.
I
and
mean,
didn't care.
I don't know anyone who
Mm.
does it first.
Oh, yeah. I mean, but I don't know. Like some of the women he describes feel like they're probably pretty dirty, right?
What do you think, Nikki? Do you think Nikki?
Do you think
Sitting in the
Nikki
hotel
cleaned
lobby.
herself?
I think
Shit,
Robin
no.
Power talked about this on Org.
These are straight people problems that I don't have, so I don't.
Oh, I know.
No, if I'm not mistaken, I think Robin Power talked about this on Org.
Okay, about him
because
going down.
because she told it all.
Oh,
Yeah.
Ooh. All right. So we are correct in assuming that he was a fantastic lover.
To recap, Purple Rain is a great album, and Prince
Yeah.
loved.
Yes.
Yeah.
okay.
You know, if he might not. You know what? Let's put it this way: he might have been more talented at that, and you know, just
What if he
Bless
lives with
his
guitar
heart.
solos? Come
just
on.
sticking it somewhere. Because I mean, you know, Carmen Electra wasn't too impressed, and you know, she slept with Dennis Rodman. I mean, so maybe, you know, maybe he overshot shoots is kind of, no.
Aisha, what are you saying? Because I need to know. I need to know what you're saying.
I think that maybe he's like, maybe when it comes to actual penetration, he might not have been that.
He falls short.
Right, he falls short, and that he might have been better at performing oral. I mean,
no shame in that, you know.
I mean, he did write Elixir for
good as something.
Valente.
Oh, Elixir.
Elixir.
Right.
All right, so let's go around
You
the
saying that? Oh, okay. All right.
Let's wrap this up here
Speculation.
before we move into any other territory that grosses me out. No, I'm just Listen, I'd let a guy say, oh, no, never mind. Move on.
Oh, for the love of God.
I'm eating.
I wish I was.
Oh,
Remember
dear.
Madonna's song,
Oh,
Where Life
dear.
Begins? Colonel Sanders said it best.
Oh,
You're looking good.
she is horrifying.
Purple Rain. On a
10
scale of 1 to 10.
10
We're going to
plus.
go around the circle.
A high enough number.
Jeffrey.
10 plus.
Aisha.
9.9.
What?
And
And
Fearman.
that's because you skip over Purple
Purple
Rain,
Rain.
isn't it? That's why. Oh, a 10 plus.
Melissa.
20.
If I had to skip a song, it'd probably be Computer Blue, just so you guys know.
No.
There isn't one song on there I've ever
No.
skipped.
Clark.
Ever.
Purple Rain, scale of 1 to 10.
That's a 10. Yeah, it's a 10. It's a if you like the guy at all, you have to have that album. That's
Yeah.
That I will. That I
What
agree
are
on.
your favorite?
10. Definitely 10 plus.
Yeah.
And I will say a 10 just for its cultural impact that I think changed the world. I think this album changed the world.
well, I don't know if you touched on this during the chat, but 84 was the summer of Madonna with Like a Virgin and Prince, and then the Bruce Springsteen album was
Right.
huge. So there were 3 monster albums that
And even though they came out in 83, you had Cyndi Lauper, She's So Unusual.
yeah. And
Michael
Thriller
Thriller
was
Jackson's
still on the
Thriller.
charts. Yeah,
Thriller actually
Really?
came out in 82.
right, but it was still on the charts
Yeah,
in
but it was on the
84.
charts.
So yeah, it was a
Pointer
crowded.
Sisters, Breakout.
You know what? There's a
That's
book.
right.
There's a book called Can't Slow Down, and it's about 1984 musically.
Ooh.
To check it out.
I think Stop Making Sense from Talking Heads was out then too. I mean, it was a crowded chart.
Tina
When
Turner,
did Jesse's
Yeah.
Girl come
Yeah.
out?
Yeah.
Private Dancer. Jesse's
Jesse's
Girl was
Girl.
82, I think. I think that was a little
Yeah.
earlier.
Mm.
And
So
this was
Jeffrey-
the year just before Whitney Houston.
Yeah.
Mm.
Jeffrey, did you have the idea to say our favorite and least favorite song? Is that what you're saying?
Yes, because obviously, we know Aisha doesn't.
Let's do it just for fun.
Purple
Jeffrey, favorite and least favorite song from Purple Rain.
I mean, it's like an impossible question, but I would say like probably Darling Nikki, and then probably Take Me With You. But like again, that's like an impossible choice. And I mean, you know, I've heard When Doves Cry and Let's Go Crazy more than all the other songs because they played those on the radio in addition. So I can't really give When Doves Cry a fair shake because I've heard it's probably more than any of the other songs. So, and there was a while where I was kind of sick of it, but anyway.
All right. Aisha, favorite and least favorite.
When Doves Cry will always be my favorite song off this album, Purple Rain.
Oh, and Fearman.
Probably Darling Nikki, honestly. But you know, I will always stop and listen to When Doves Cry, always, forever. But I think that in terms of like the power of songs, Darling Nikki really did it for me. Least favorite? I don't even know. I can't. I mean, I don't know. Probably the computer one after they've done their little.
After when Lisa got in the bathtub.
Mhm.
All right, Melissa.
After those bitches start bathing. Yeah.
Favorite is The Beautiful Ones.
Mm.
And least favorite would be Let's Go Crazy, but only because every time the DJ played it, I thought it was the most awful song to dance to. Like it was hard. It was a fast beat song.
It's like
Yes.
a rockabilly beat.
Kind of hard to find the beat to dance on, but
Sure.
that's just me because
I don't
Hard.
think it's meant to dance to.
It's meant to rock out.
DJs play it a lot, and then everybody goes on the floor to dance, and I'm like, well, I'm not dancing this song. It's the only song I don't want to dance to of Prince.
It's definitely no Get Off, that's for sure.
No.
No, it isn't. That's
All right, Clark, favorite and least favorite.
Favorite is Let's Go Crazy, and least favorite is I Would Die for You. Not that it sucks.
You're right, because
It's
it
a great
doesn't.
song.
It doesn't.
It's
It
just
is.
the least favorite. Still favorite.
All right, I have two controversial things to say. One, which I'll probably edit out because it's so nasty. But number one, my favorite song is Take Me With You, I think, because I'm a romantic. I like that breezy romanticism.
Oh,
And my least favorite is probably Computer Blue. I love it, but it's probably my least favorite.
See, that's okay.
it's short. It's a short
Yeah.
song
Yeah.
Mhm.
So,
on the album. Anyways, not
can
the
I
whole
say something
EP.
that's totally stupid? This is so stupid.
Why start now?
Yes,
This
come
is
on.
so low level,
Oh, thank goodness.
so stupid.
Excellent.
Because we're talking about how Prince was kind of good at eating out, right?
Yes!
Maybe Wendy and Lisa really did teach him a thing or two after hearing that beginning of Computer Blue. Look at everyone's
We
face.
have to
This
assume
is-
he knew that already.
This is disappointment, is what you're seeing.
That's the face of I'm disappointed in you,
Wendy
Jeremy.
and Lisa, I have no idea what these fucking people are talking about.
So, just like we said earlier, Prince knew everything before. He knew how to do it already, right?
Yes. Yeah. And I did want to say that that was what I wanted to say earlier when we were talking about, the like Erotic City and stuff, and how, he's making all this music that is that we can only associate with certain albums that come later, and yet here he is doing it in this,
Right.
So I don't think he ever needed other people, in the sense that he didn't know how to do it without them, right? I think that he worked well with creative energy, but at the same time, I think that everything he wrote, he would have written on his own, and that's probably not what people in his universe want to hear.
With the possible exception of Eric Lead's saxophone.
Okay.
And there was one other element that he didn't need. He didn't need dancers, except for Kat. Him and Kat had chemistry, but he didn't need any other. He didn't need other dancers after that.
Well, I will say we had a good time tonight. Didn't we? Had some laughs. We got to talk some music we love. To all the viewers out there, we know we said some silly stuff. We're just having a good
So
time
you guys all
talking about
said
this.
them. I didn't say any of those.
And
I didn't.
I was only
I
talking
only
about
said
myself.
I only said that something rhymes with Sheila Me. That was all I said.
Right.
I think they taught him a thing or two after hearing that.
Oh, you made the point. We get it.
Will you all please come back next month to talk about Around the World in a Day? I didn't scare anyone off here, did we?
Dude, I'll come back to talk about any album with you guys.
Even though, we're about to enter more controversial territory where his music.
That's fine.
Yeah. All
I
right.
just like hanging out with you guys.
I know. I love you guys.
Yes, me
My
too.
face hurts from laughing so
I
hard.
know.
You're all. I love everyone's different opinions and how we're
That's
just.
actually really fascinating to hear how almost I don't think any of us agreed on our favorite and least favorite.
No, we didn't.
That is
Yeah.
weird.
Pretty interesting.
You're such a. I love the Prince crew. So, all right, I'm gonna pause it. We can still talk for a second, but we will see you next month. Patreon, Jeremy Gloff, subscribe, and go listen to Erotic City. Go listen to what's the Funkadelic song that
Not
Knee
just
deep.
knee deep.
all right, and what else do we need to listen to? Go listen to
Your good hallway version.
the hallway version of Computer Blue.
Yes.
All right,
Must listen to that.
we're gonna climb down the ladder next month and talk about Around the World in a Day. Bye bye.